songs, loving and leaving and get too stoned. Bottle and a pistol by my side, the devil's always along for the ride. We ride down to the creek by the water. I've been baptized by the preacher's daughter. Lucky for me, no, he never caught us so. Oh, we ride to the bar by the levee, 85 jacked up square by the Chevy, blanket in the back when it gets hot and heavy. Oh, oh, we ride, pedal to the floorboard, she begging for more, sipping on apple pie, moonshine, and I'll be gone by the morning light. Yeah, 'cause I've been known to write a few songs, loving and leaving and get too stoned. Bottle and a pistol by my side, devil's always along for the ride. We ride across state lines, rubbing 2 nickels, just trying to make a dime. Hard to make a living while the gas so high. Oh, we ride like a Harley on a 2-lane, Palomino across the plain, drop it down a 4-wheel drive on a Friday night, cracking open a cold Bud Light. Oh, we ride, pushing through the hard luck, looking for my give-a-fuck needle peg at 95, but that's alright, 'cause I'm running every red light. Yeah, 'cause I've been known to write a few songs, loving and leaving and get too stoned. Bottle and a pistol by my side, devil's always along for the ride. Oh, we ride. Oh, we ride. Yeah, 'cause I've been known to write a few songs, loving and leaving and get too stoned. Bottle and a pistol by my side, devil's always along for the ride. Yeah, I've been known to write a few songs, loving and leaving and get too stoned. Bottle and a pistol by my side, devil's always along for the ride. Oh, for that ride, the devil's always along for that ride.
Tick-tock, I'm on the clock and I'm feeling like this job's just a 9 to 5 and my life away. It's like I'm back in school and I'm in the last class and I'm passing time until the bell rang. Having visions of summertime, but wait a minute now, it's just later tonight. 10 legs and tailgates all up in the moonlight. And by the way, let's payday. Live it up for the weekend. Pull it up every time of your life. Take a shot for the regrets. Double up and it's bound to get buck wild. Hey ladies, let your head out. We know ain't nobody scared now. Hell now. Just do your thing like a spring break. Wake and bake and we at it again. We live it up for the weekend. Backwoods looking like Panama City. A bunch of jacked up trucks and bikinis. Got a Yeti full of good ideas. Like I ain't worried about driving, I'ma stay right here. And I'ma live it up for the weekend. Blow it up at the time of your life. Take a shot for the regrets. Double up and it's bound to get broke wild. Hey ladies, let your head out. We know ain't nobody scared now. Hell now. Just do your thing like a spring break. Wake and bake and we at it again. We live it up for the weekend. Somebody said something about church on Sunday. Daddy says something about work on Monday. Don't say it again. Live it up for the weekend. Pull it up every time we align. Take a shot for the Regals. Double up and it's about to get bubble wild. Hey ladies, let your head out. We know ain't nobody scared out here now. Just do your thing like a spring break. Wake and bake and we at it again. We live it up for the weekend. Live it up for the weekend. Come on. Live it up for the weekend. Live it up for the weekend. It's the weekend.
Thank you. Couldn't have ever dawned on me all the things that I would be. I never really looked out quite that far. Never been a simple thing. See the world with a young man's brain, with an old man's heart, a restless soul. Yeah, my family went broke my 18th year. Dad took a job many miles from here. That was all right by me. I was on my own. I had a band, found a job. Life was all right. I worked when I had to. We paid all the time only. Got through that first year of college. All right. But I learned more on the freight docks, driving forklifts on a 3 o'clock a.m. shift in the wintertime. Man, it got cool. Selling guitars on the West Coast, going hungry, chasing ghosts around and around we would go. And I saw it all tending bar at night, treating saints and sinners right is a good thing to do all the time. You never know who you're talking to, but always know who's watching you. Keep your feet moving straight down the line.
Get that backwards.
I've known a lot of real good men. Grad school or no school, I've called them my friends. I'm somewhere in the middle. That's just fine. Now listen to me. No, I don't give a damn how much money you make. If your last shirt has pockets, take all you can take. I'm going out with nothing, like I came in. And I learned more on the freight docks, driving forklifts on a 3 o'clock a.m. shift in the wintertime. Man, it got cool. Selling guitars on the West Coast, going hungry, chasing ghosts around and around we would go. And I saw it all tending bar at night, treating saints and sinners right is a good thing to do all the time. And you never know who you're talking to, but always know who's watching you. Keep your feet moving straight down the line. driving forklifts on a 3 o'clock a.m. shift in the wintertime. Man, it got cold. Selling guitars on the West Coast, going hungry, chasing ghosts around and around we would go. And I saw it all tending bar at night, treating saints and sinners right is a good thing to do all the time. And you never know who you're talking to, but always know who's watching you. Keep your feet moving straight down the line. And somewhere in the middle's just fine. Yeah, somewhere in the middle's just fine.
Late one night behind corn whiskey, I fell asleep with a guitar in my hand. I dreamed about the ghost of Mississippi, and the blues came walking like a man. Without a word, I passed that guitar over. He tuned it up like I'd never seen. A crooked smile was his expression. He closed his eyes and he began to sing. Oh, oh, love, why have you forsaken me? Got me down in Mississippi where I don't want to be. Oh, love, why have you forsaken me? Got me down in Mississippi where I don't want to be. When I woke up, I looked into the mirror. I saw no reflection for a while. But as my eyes came into focus, I recognized a crooked smile. Oh, love, why have you forsaken me? Got me down in Mississippi where I don't want to be. Oh, love, why have you forsaken me? Got me down in Mississippi where I don't want to be. Late one night behind corn whiskey, I fell asleep with a guitar in my hand. I dreamed about the ghost of Mississippi, and the blues came walking like a man. Oh, love, why have you forsaken me? Got me down in Mississippi where I don't want to be. Oh, love, why have you forsaken me? Got me down in Mississippi where I don't wanna be. Oh, love, why have you forsaken me? Got me down in Mississippi, where I don't wanna be. Oh, love, why have you forsaken me? Got me down in Mississippi, where I don't wanna be. I don't wanna be. Where I don't wanna be. I don't wanna be.
Well, I already know one thing.
Sunday morning, man, she woke up fighting mad, bitching and moaning on and on about the time I had. And by Tuesday, you could say that girl was good as gone. And then when Thursday came around, I was all alone. So I went for a drive to clear my mind. Ended up at a Shell on I-65. Then I won $100 on a scratch-off ticket. Bought 2 12-packs and a tank of gas with it. She swore they were a waste of time, all, but she was wrong. I was calling number 5 on the radio station, won a 4-day, 3-night beach vacation. Deep sea senorita fishing down in Panama. And I ain't gotta see my ex-future mother-in-law anymore. Oh Lord, when it rains, it pours. Now she was sure real quick to up and apologize when she heard about my newfound luck on that FM dial. And it's crazy how lately now it just seems to come in waves. What I thought was gonna be the death of me was my saving grace. It's got me thinking that her leaving is the only logical reason that I got the last spot in the Hooters parking lot, and the waitress left her number on my check with a heart. She picked all started on the day that she walked out. Then I won $100 on a scratch-off ticket, bought 2 12-packs and a tank of gas with it. She swore they were a waste of time, all, but she was wrong. And I was calling number 5 on the radio station, won a 4-day, 3-night beach vacation. Deep sea senorita fishing down in Panama. And I ain't gotta see my ex-future mother-in-law anymore. Oh Lord, when it rains it pours. When it rains it pours.
Scattergun blast hands in the air, $500,000 in a burlap sack. Y'all have a nice day as we make our way to the caddy in the alley out back. See, when times get hard, some good old boys turn to a life of sin. We're like Robin Hood, we're just twice as good, but we can never go home again. Well, I grew up singing Amazing Grace in a little white church in the woods. My mama prayed hard for all of her boys, but her praying didn't do a bit of good. The sheriff and the banker man came to push us off of our land, and now we're 6 feet deep, and my brothers and me, we can never go home again. Lord, forgive me, I know just what I do. I take what I need and then I leave the rest to my mama and you. And that tin roof cabin might not have been heaven, but it's closer than I've ever been. God bless an outlaw's weary soul, I can never go home again. Sometimes I dream of that old front porch and my mama patching up a quilt, while my brothers and me lay around in the shade of that live oak tree on the hill. And now it's hideout shacks, better watch your back and cover every track of where you've been. 1,000 wrongs won't ever make it right, I can never go home again. Lord, forgive me, I know just what I do. I take what I need and then I leave the rest to my mama and you. And that tin roof cabin might not have been heaven, but it's closer than I've ever been. God bless an outlaw's weary soul, I can never go home again. Scattergun blast tears a 10-inch hole through an empty burlap sack. As I say my piece for my brothers and me, my whole world fades to black. There's 3 new graves underneath the shade of that live oak tree on the hill, overlooking mama's porch with a fresh coat of paint and a shiny new Coupe de Ville. Lord, forgive me, I know just what I've done, but I've been through hell and found myself on the wrong end of a gun. And that tin roof cabin might not have been heaven, but it's closer than I've ever been. God bless an outlaw's weary soul, I thought I'd never make it home again. God bless an outlaw's weary soul, I guess I finally made it home again.
took down a photograph of our wedding day, ripped it down the middle and threw my half away. And I got nobody to blame but me. I got nobody to blame but me. She broke all my fishing rods, put my guns in hard, threw my clothes out in the yard and changed out all the locks. And I got nobody to blame but me. I got nobody to blame but me. I know right away I went wrong. I know just what got her gone. Turned my life into this country song, and I got nobody to blame but me. I got nobody to blame but me. She fired up my old hot rod, ran it in the pond, put sugar in my John Deere. I can't even mow my lawn, and I got nobody to blame but me. I got nobody to blame but me. She built her a bonfire with my old six string, took all my good whiskey and poured it down the drain. And I got nobody to blame but me. I got nobody to blame but me. I know right away I went wrong. I know just what got her gone. Turned my life into this country song, and I got nobody to blame but me. I got nobody to blame but me. Nobody to blame but me. I got nobody to blame but me.
That's the state of my head. That's the state of my head. It's been a long
Tuxedo waiters, black tie, white tablecloths and red wine. We've been planning this night, looking forward to it for some time. Now, honey, I know you love getting dressed up, and you know I love showing you off, but watching your baby blue eyes dancing in the candlelight glow door. Seeing your black dress hit the floor. Honey, there sure ain't nothing like you loving me all night long. And all I can think about is getting you home. I don't need this menu, no I don't. I already know just what I want. Did I hear you right? Did you tell me? Go pay the waiter and let's leave. Now honey, I know by that look in your eyes and your hand drawing hearts onto mine that our night out of the house ain't gonna last too long. When all you can think about is getting me home. Walking through the front door, seeing your black dress hit the floor. Honey, there sure ain't nothing like you loving me all night long. And all I can think about is getting you home. Walking through the front door, seeing your black dress hit the floor. Honey, there sure ain't nothing like you loving me all night long. And all I can think about, all I can think about, all I can think about is getting you home.
Sister cries out from her baby bed. Brother runs in, feathers on his head. Mama's in her room, learning how to sew. Daddy's drinking beer, listening to the radio. Hank Williams sings Elijah and Dear John. And time marches on, time marches on. Sisters using rouge and clear complexion soap. Brother's wearing beads and he smokes a lot of dope. Mama is depressed, barely makes a sound. Daddy's got a girlfriend in another town. Bob Dylan sings like a rolling stone. And time marches on, time marches on. The South moves north, north moves south. A star is born, a star burns out. The only thing that stays the same is everything changes, everything changes. Sister calls herself a sexy grandma. Brother's on a diet for high cholesterol. Mama's out of touch with reality. Daddy's in the ground beneath the maple tree as the angels sing an old Hank Williams song. Time marches on, time marches on, time marches on, time marches on.
How much is owed? Yeah. Maybe mud bricks?
I could rob a bank in an old Mustang. I could fight the cops with my bare two hands. End up in jail eating microwave hell, but I'm a little smarter than that. I could even wait till the night got late, maybe with some fog and rain too, and steal all the riches from them greedy sons of bitches and send in my story to the news, and then you have something to talk about. Tell them I'm Jesse James. It'll make them all believe, no, there ain't no doubt that I will give you something to talk about. Take to a bar and drinking like a sailor and take home a married woman. Tell her that I love her when her man walks in and puts a hollow point in my head. Later on at the funeral, everyone is crying. I could bust out of the casket that my mama peeked out. Dance all around the jolly good fellow, and then you have something to talk about. Tell them all gone.
Not really feeling any of this. Yeah, I'm not feeling this song. What's this? I wish I'd play the same playlist I got going on my phone. It's so much better.
See you and me riding like Bonnie and Clyde, rolling 95, burning down 129, yeah. Looking for the law while I push my luck. You shoot around shotgun like it ain't no thing. Turn the radio off so the girl can sing right. Pull them to the party like y'all was some. Tonight is bottoms up.
Huh?
Throw it on down.
See if you fit it, I
rock
like.
this little country town, you know. Drop the tailgate on your truck. Find a keg and fill your cup. Oh, kick it on back. Pretty little mama looking at you like that. Make you wanna slide on in like girl, what's up? It's tonight is bottoms up. Get 'em up. Tonight is bottoms up. Get 'em up. Damn. Girl, I gotta tip my hat and never thought a country song make you move like that, yeah. And she's doing it in Daisy Dukes, girl. She got you tapping on your boy show. Hey, dog, check this out, man. It's how them girls do it in the dirty side.
City, yeah.
She'll have you on the knee, can I marry you? Hey, tonight is bottoms up. Throw it on down, rock this quiet little country town to get up. Drop a tailgate on your truck. Find a keg and fill your cup. Oh, kick it on back. Pretty little mama looking at
Actually, I think that Smooth the Salt's gonna be the ticket.
girl, what's up? Tonight is bottoms up. Get 'em up. Tonight is bottoms up. Get 'em up. Get 'em up. Get 'em up. Get 'em up. Hey, yo, what are we sipping on? Get it good times. Oh, y'all get your drinks up high, everybody feeling alright. Damn right, 'cause tonight is bottoms up. Throw it on down, rock this quiet little country town and get up. Drop a tailgate on your truck, find a keg and fill your cup up. Kick it on back, pretty little mama looking at you like that. Make you wanna slide on in like, girl, what's up? Tonight is bottoms up. Throw it on down, rock this quiet little country town and get up. Drop a tailgate on your truck, find a keg and fill your cup up. Kick it on back, pretty little mama looking at you like that. Make you wanna slide on in like, girl, what's up? Yeah, tonight is bottoms up. Get 'em up. Tonight is bottoms up. Get 'em up.
Was a boy who was a dreamer, and he flew so high and proud. In a world full of people out, cut his young ass down. No one ever understood a single word he said, and it cast him to the wolves when he wasn't well and fed. Boys, we've got a riser in our midst. He will get the last lap, it's the last thing he did. And he used to roll around in that red dirt mud. But now he's skipping town and that riser's out for blood. Don't stop going south, 'cause they'll let you play your music real damn loud. Don't stop heading south, 'cause they won't understand the words that are pouring from your mouth.
Seriously?
Then that boy, he called his daddy to tell him what he did, as the masses screamed the lyrics of the messed up kid. And then he told that old man he was never coming back, to be cut down again in a town like that.
Bye-bye.
Then he surely came to learn people come to watch you fall. He's out to make a name and a fool out of them all. They'll never understand that boy and his kind. All they comprehend is a fucking dollar sign. So don't stop going south, 'cause they'll let you play your music real damn loud. Don't stop heading south, 'cause they won't understand the words that are pouring from your mouth.
I don't know which one I'm feeling.
Going south, they won't understand the words that are pouring from your mouth. Don't stop going south, 'cause they'll let you scream your music real damn loud.
Spent my lifetime wishing the waitress would come around, telling jokes, shooting pool on the other side of town. The whistle blows at 5 o'clock. There's only one place I'll be found, down at Ernie's Ice House, lifting long necks to that good old country sound.
Good God, it's out of fuel already?
Talking about the good old time, bragging about how it used to be, and I want to me. There's nothing like a steel guitar crying in the night. There's nothing like a sawdust floor and a good old friendly fight. I'd finally find my way back home. You'd patch up my face. That was another time in another place. Now we're talking about the good old times, bragging about how it used to be. I've worn out the same old lines. Now it seems nothing's news to me. I wonder how I came to be the know-it-all I am. How the world ever got used to me. Talking about the good old times, bragging about how it used to be. But I've worn out the same old lines. Now it seems nothing's news to me.
I've got calcite, but calcite's not the ticket. It's too white.
Don't let it.
I was just a normal guy. Life was just a 9 to 5 with bills and pressure piled up to the sky. She never asked, she knew I'd been hanging with my wilder friends, looking for some other way to fly. And 3 days straight was no big feat. Could get by on no food or sleep, and crazy was becoming my new norm. I'd pass out on the bedroom floor, sleep right through the calm before the storm. My life was just an old routine. Every day the same damn thing. I couldn't even tell I was alive. I tell you, the high cost of living ain't nothing like the cost of living high.
Oh, reinforced deep slate. How long is
That
that?
Southern Baptist parking lot was where I'd go to smoke my pot and sit there in my pickup truck and pray. And staring at that giant cross just reminded me that I was lost, and it just never seemed to point the way. As soon as Jesus turned his back, I'd find my way across the tracks, looking just to score another deal. With my back against that damn 8-ball, I didn't have to think or talk or feel. And my life was just an old routine. Every day the same damn thing. I couldn't even tell I was
of life.
I tell you, the high
Cost of living
ain't nothing
like the cost of living high.
My whole life went through my head, laying in that motel bed, watching as cops kicked in the door. I had a job, a piece of land. My sweet wife was my best friend, but I traded that for cocaine and a whore. With my newfound sobriety, I've got time to sit and think of all the things I had and threw away. This prison is much colder than that one that I was locked up in just yesterday. My life is just an old routine. Every day the same damn thing. Hell, I can't even tell if I'm alive. I tell you, the high cost of living ain't nothing like the cost of living high. I tell you, the high cost of living it ain't nothing like the cost of living high. Just leave that stuff alone. Go.
Oh man. Well, so much for that.
Well, I called my wife with
With
another man, and it cost
Cost
me
me
99 on a prison farm in Georgia, close to the Florida line. Well, I've been here for 2 long years. I finally made the warden my friend, and so he sentenced me to a life of ease, taking care of old Red. Now old Red, he's the damnedest dog that I ever seen. Got a nose that can smell a 2-day trail. He's a 4-legged tracking machine. You can consider yourself mighty lucky to get past the gators and the quicksand beds. But all these years that I've been here, ain't nobody got past Red. And the warden saying, come on somebody, why don't you run? Old Red's itching to have a little fun. Get my lantern, get my gun. Red'll have you treat for the morning come.
paid off the guard and I slipped out a letter to my cousin up in Tennessee. On he brought down a blue tick hound. She was pretty as she could be.
Oh.
Well, they pinned her up in the swampland about a mile just south of the gate. And I'd take old Red for his evening run. I'd just drop him off and wait. And the warden sang, come on somebody, why don't you run?
Old Red Kitchen, have a little fun.
Get
My ladder, get my gun. When the tree for the morning comes.
Now old Red got real used to seeing his lady every night. And so I kept him away for 3 or 4 days and waited till the time got right.
Oh.
Well, I made my run with the evening sun, and I smiled when I heard him turn red out. 'Cause I was headed north to Tennessee, and old Red was headed south. And the woman sang, come on
Somebody, why don't you run? Old Red Kitchen to have a little fun. Get my ladder, get my gun. Have a tree for the night is done.
Now there's
Red-haired blue ticks all in the south. Love got me in here and love got me out.
City lights ain't treating me right from this side of the wall. I'm thinking it's time to turn on a dime for the Sierra Madre call. I caught wind from a friend of a friend of mighty wealth untold. If the story
Oh, Foxu's on. Yay! Oh, I forgot I was in creative. think I'm going to go tree chopping. Deforestation time! Suffer not a tree to live.
Good morning, chat. Yeah, sweet baby kinda blew the fuck up. Sweet baby my camera's dead again. Sweet baby kinda fucked up, eh? Kinda fucked up, dude.
If you buy a fox and you put the fox in your house, it's gonna do fox things.
I will.
Hello, Fox Woman. Today's my Earl birthday.
Oh.
The only two gifts I wish for is to either bring a ear at Oriana
Oh,
or
fuck.
for you to show merciless brutality today.
Ah,
Please do at least one.
fuck.
No, it's comedy without a laugh track.
I instinctively, because like I can't understand TTS half the time, so I instinctively went to open my browser that I closed so I could stream, so I could read the TTS.
Fabulous, frolicsome, fulsome, fresh, fervorous, filigreed, fervid, fulgent, firmamental, facilitative, fortifying, flawless, fanciful, fructuous, forethinking, far-sighted, futuristic, fulgurating, forthcoming, flexible, fulminant, fluent, frisky, fancy, fiery, fox,
Good God.
Friday.
Futurist. I love the
Gee,
alliteration.
Sally, your boyfriend lets you have 2 cars?
Why does the world burn when you don't stream? The same reason that VTubers graduate whenever Proctor goes to sleep. But
It's butt time?
Needs to it's happening. So my browser's still opening, and my computer can't handle it. I have fucked up. We're gonna be stuck in limbo for a second here, chat. I can't even let the browser finish loading. I gotta kill it. Which means I can't.
Close the fucking tab.
I'm gonna get behind the pancakes again.
This is
No.
a public service announcement. Keish and chat are super mega duper omega cute
Gamergate
and
2
wonderful
tabs
less than 3.
boogaloo. Thanks, I hate it. Thanks, I edged that browser. I fucking hate it, dude. Can't believe Sweet Baby enraged all of Latam while we're mourning Toriyama's passing away. One of the Sweet Baby fucks actually tried race grifting off of that dude's death too, and it's just like, what is wrong with you? What is actually wrong with you? Mexico literally putting their flags at half-mast, and you're gonna be a bitch. Another reason a streamer may want to have their actual chat showing is to catch new chatters or see what messages from at-risk. Are you a bot? Is this like a bot? Who are you? That's a very bot message. We're sending cartel after them. Good lord, I can't even see. My eyes are fucking damaged. No, you're real, not a bot. Okay, all right. What the fucking weird ass bot message? Thanks, Guedes. Yomo Tolman, thank you for the $4.99. Thank you for the links the other day for the bridge stuff. You've notified your family to an extent. Have I heard? I don't think it's possible to have not heard about Akira Toriyama at this point, my guy. I don't think it's possible. That is not information you can escape. I'm over a month behind anyway at this point. Well, that's where you're wrong, Skewky. I know you like bitching at me because it's like your favorite pastime activity. I don't understand, guy, but like, no, I'm not, in fact, a month behind. Quit mocking me because I got mistaken for a bot. There were like 5 people who suped Piba about his passing. Heard that dude's removed for grifting off of Toriyama's passing. Yeah, he got suspended. It looks like he's back now because it says his tweets are protected. So I don't know how he got unsuspended so quickly. Finding out that Sweet Babble is using a dead man to drive to Suicide's company to fund and propagate. I can't parse your sentence to ESL.
1,000-year-old lolly cum demon vampires.
Adam BV, thank you for the member.
Can we get your risotto recipe that you showed on the Tweety website? Or will you edge chat like a good Findom streamer? All I know is, I'd love to try your recipe, especially with my HelloFresh ingredients.
Not HelloFresh! Askercorp, thank you for the $20 doodles. I posted my risotto recipe in Discord before. I can repost it at some point, but man, I have been just incredibly ridiculously busy. I'm sorry. Financial domination. Thank you, Nightbot. Did I see the lawyer man reviewed a leaked Niji Sanji? Again, something that has been inescapable the past few days. Saratoga, thank you for the 200 biddies. The Niji Sanji contract somehow does not surprise me. It's only slightly worse than I expected it to be, but hot damn! Hot damn, clout is a hell of a drug, ain't it? Clout is a hell of a drug, ain't it? I was like, I could not imagine reading that contract and being willing to sign that bullshit just for the chance of having an audience as a VTuber. You have Kirsha Risotto, where should you post it? Post it in the waifu chat, the general chat. If you dump ketchup into another risotto, you're gonna look, I went to the restaurant, I got the risotto, I was really excited, I put it in my mouth. This risotto had the texture of fucking cottage cheese, alright? It had the texture of cottage cheese and it tasted like dirty gym shoes. It was the worst risotto I've ever fucking put in my mouth.
Ish argues with chat about penis size and toilet paper rolls for at least and did not manage to nap yesterday.
What? So it was the worst risotto. And I was like, look, I don't like wasting food. I'm gonna put ketchup in it and see if it's salvageable. But after I put ketchup in it, it just tasted like sweaty gym shoes with cottage cheese texture that had ketchup in it. So I was like, I can't do this. I will vomit if I try to finish eating this risotto. So it was literally disgusting. I had a reason for putting ketchup on it. I didn't want to waste food. Normal, good risotto doesn't get ketchup, chat. That's weird. Don't do that. The food's existence was a waste at that point. Just toss it. Rice-a-roni grade. I would have rather have eaten rice-a-roni. You'll post later today your sugary slop comfort food that you eat every Friday, and I'll learn the joy of oats with banana and honey. I don't know if I believe you. I don't know if I believe you. Holy shit, the only food she doesn't put ketchup on. Dude, when I finish cooking a skillet full of my risotto, I'm over there like licking my spoon like I just baked a fucking cake. It is literally crack cocaine in food form. You're gonna thank the Fox woman for being a woman on International Women's. Oh yeah, that's true. That is a day, isn't it? Cannot forget the troubles Fox women have to deal with on the internet. That's true. I am a marginalized person as a Fox woman and a gamer. The only shady back alley Italian restaurants sell the Kino soda. I know. The only thing you know about risotto is that shitty chefs use apple juice for— What the fuck? Why would you use apple juice? What is wrong with them? What is wrong with them? How about risotto in cocaine form? Please do not huff your risotto. Tammy Tams, thank you for the 500 biddies. Phantom Friday is on International Women's Day. It's just a psyop. For International Women's Day, you have to give your mistress all of your money. Oh god, I can't fucking— I broke character halfway through that. Please, Chef Kirsha, teach us more about the awful risotto. Whoever cooked it must have been an idiot sandwich! No fucking donkey! Emperor Creatine, thank you for the $5. Whoever it was, they clearly don't know how to fucking cook any fucking risotto. I even asked, like, I don't like asking questions when I'm at a restaurant because I don't want anyone to know, like, I'm displeased, right? I don't want to cause any issues. But the risotto was so bad, when the waitress came back over, I was like, hey, what kind of cheese is in this risotto? Like, I was terrified she would come back and tell me cottage cheese, because that's the texture. But she was just like, oh, Asiago. I was like, there's no fucking way you can convince me that this fucking risotto only has Asiago cheese in it. I've put Asiago in my risotto before, and it certainly didn't taste or texturize in this manner. I didn't say that to her, but I thought it very angrily. Women are overrated because they get stuff for existing. I mean, it depends on the woman. Should have said it. Well, it's not the waitress's fault. I'm not gonna berate her. The fact that they took a week to announce Toriyama's death just to show women that one man's death means more than all the women. Oh my god. Depends. Call the chef. True. I should have berated the chef. Like the dirty dog you are! Like... True and real. You stupid kicked in, and this entire time you thought Kirsha was eating a block of ricotta? It's okay. You fixed your mistake, and that's what matters. You have the intelligence to understand a mistake was made. There's so many things to unpack about that statement. I don't know where to begin. We all bound, for he was the one everybody respected. Oh my god. I should have gone in the kitchen to show the chef how it's done. They probably didn't even have white wine for cooking. Imagine. Oh, it's like, we can't open those bottles. Oh, we can't open them. Where the fuck? What the fuck is this? I don't even know. What tab is this? What tab is this? Where am I? Where am I? What's happening? Okay. I have so many windows open. So many windows with so many tabs. Like, there's so much going on. How do you even fuck up risotto? It's not difficult to make. A lot of people fuck up making risotto because they don't do the constant stirring thing. Lost in the tabs. Unironically lost in the tabs. Unironically. My swear babu shit is so big. It's so big. I mean that in jest, you like Asiago? Asiago's a good fucking cheese.
Close the fucking tabs, you psychopath.
No, the tabs give me power! The risotto caused brain damage. I wouldn't help be surprised. Help.
Gee, Sally, your boyfriend lets you have 2 coms?
Already finished my gamer subs because I am extra hiccupy. I had a revelation as well. Whenever I leave my house, I don't cough, right? Like, I've been coughing a lot recently. Whenever I leave my house, I don't have any coughing. It's like my phlegm just disappears. I'm wondering if there's some sort of, like, mold or too much dust or... I don't know. When hiccuping reminds yourself you're not a fish, it doesn't work! Dust mite allergy or mold? There's mold in the walls! The Flamingo Man's gotta clean that shit, honestly. Cat allergy? I doubt it's cat. I stuff my face in their bellies all the time. Maybe get an air purifier if you don't already have one. I might have to try. I might have to try that. But, yeah, no. Whenever I go outside, I don't have any phlegm. And whenever Tim brings the dog inside from on a walk, the smell of the dog induces me to vomit. So I'm wondering if it's the dog. Sounds like you gotta open a window. You don't really get VTubers till recently. I feel like Kirsha would be just as entertaining in real life, but for the social anxiety and self-consciousness that would be on camera, that's just like, I don't like going outside, so it'd be the same as on camera, you know? This is anxiety-inducing enough. Have I changed the filters in the AC system? I have. Might be mold. You had something similar to that, and you peeled away your walls before you moved and found quite a big mold sitting around. Oh, God. What is barnyard.gov? Is that some weird porn site? What is that? You don't think vomiting just from a dog smell is normal? How often do you dust? I mean, it's like every once in a while. If I don't see dust, it doesn't exist, right? And what if I'm not inducing enough anxiety? I know. You would have to troubleshoot it by smelling a clean dog. Boil some Fabuloso. True, I should do that. Government approved horse dong. Oh no. You got promoted! Hey yo, happy boy! Congratulations on your promotion. Congratulations, Nim! Nim, since I can't open my main browser, I'm gonna have to ask you, can you tell me whose birthday it was so I can properly give them the happy days of birth? Today is a terrible day for rain. Rip the author, your childhood hero Goku. Launchbox, thank you for the 1,000 biddies. Truly, we have lost an actual fucking industry icon, unfortunately. He was really fucking young, too. Like, 68, right? That's horrifying. That's horrifying. 68 too young? Yeah, that's too young to die, man! What do you mean? How about I put a tiny top hat on your penis? That is a very unserious thing to happen after what I just said. Ikaran, hey, thank you! Thank you for the 50 gift subs. Thank you. When you used to cough real bad, it ended up being because of your acid reflux? It's weird how the people who watched Internet Aristocrat and Sargon 10 years ago say they don't understand VTubers. Yes, I agree! It's very weird how people used to watch talking PNGs and they're just like, I don't understand this VTuber thing. Japan bad. Ikuran, hey, thank you for the 50, dude. Thank you! Huge! Literally huge! Literally huge. Without Toriyama, there would be no Kirsha. It's wild that people are saying 68 is young to die. I don't think that's wild. I think that is young to die. We're so used to people living, like, you know, through their 80s and 90s, and then this guy, 68? Are you kidding me? Better than living too long? I mean, I guess it depends on, like, the state of your body. Mangaka tend to die young because they overwork themselves. Man. Oda better not croak anytime soon. It could be dust mites and dead skin cells. You have to wash bedclothes at least every 2 weeks.
Oh, nice car.
When you talk about the work conditions of mangaka, it's not that surprising. Yeah, it's a literal fuck ton of stress, unfortunately. 68's pretty young. Thank you, chat. Thank you, some of you, for agreeing with me. Miura was like 54 when he died. Yeah, that's young too. That's also really fucking young. Your great-grandpa's still kicking at 96? Yeah, my grandpa's in his 80s. Salka Alpaca, they give you 500 yen. That man-made party of childhood. It was T-Man that had a birthday. T-Man! Do you make, like, special blend birthday tea? What is your special blend birthday tea? I need to know. I need to know what your favorite birthday blend
to be
is.
attracted to a cartoon fox that you don't even
I'm glad
know
that Nim
well?
is spamming it so I can actually not miss it. Happy birthday, T-Man! I'm sorry, I had to ask Nim to go see who it was because I can't open my browser. Thank you. Happy birthday, T-Man. I hope you have a nice day. Do you eat tea cakes instead of a real cake? I'm just gonna keep making horrible jokes at you. Average life expectancy of an American male is 72, so 68 isn't that far off. You guys say that, but like, god damn, I see so many people living way longer than that. Life expectancy being in the 70s doesn't mean most people die then. You need 2 or 3 people living to 90 to average out the people dying at 20. I don't like that. I don't like that. Did I see that Anita Sarkeesian had a wedding-themed birthday for her 40th birthday? Shit's hilarious. Yeah. I didn't know that was her at first, so I was like, why do people keep reposting this? I was like, I did not even fucking recognize her without her problem glasses on, man. Grandparents both died after 100? Man, they lived long. 68 is young. That makes you middle-aged. Big oof. Wet dog smells like mold. You had mold issues before. Dehumidifier helps a ton. I don't know what this dog smells like, but whatever it is, it's fucking bad. If I turned 60, would I still consider myself young? No. If I died at 60, I would think I was dying young. I feel like some of you are ESL here right now. Toriyama was so close to the 40th anniversary. Oh no. Reportedly died of subdural hematoma, which makes me wonder if some of his memory issues that got worse for the last decade were any possible warning signs that we missed. When you said 68 too young, you were agreeing. Also, average age in Japan for death is in the 80s. Yeah, that is young. That is young. It's because government's full of 80-year-olds doesn't mean most people reach that. I don't wanna. Akira Toriyama's interpretation of Journey to the West was almost everyone's childhood. Yeah. Watch out, that might be my future. I don't want to die that young. What do you mean? Goku's voice actor is an 87-year-old grandma. Aw, that's cute. That's cute. You feel like dying young is just if they said they could have potentially lived 20 years more? Yeah. That's just like, I don't know. If he were to die like in his 80s or 90s, I'd be like, yeah, that checks out. Dying at 68? That feels like dying young to me. That's too early. It's weird how Kyosha's accent comes out so strong with some random words. It just depends on how fast I'm talking, I guess. I don't know, man. What a doing today? Will there be Gamba? No Gamba today. Today is Tangent Friday. And we are angry. Toriyama, Dragon Quest, JRPGs, MMOs, Terra, Kyosha. True and real. What is considered old then? 200? No, I mean, I feel like if you live over 100, you're dying old, right? I'm not saying 68 years old is young. It is a young age to die at. That is weird to die. But yeah, Tora, thank you. 68 is young for dying. Stop being so autistic, chat. Holy shit. There's like autism in here. So many people don't know how they'd feel if they didn't have breakfast this morning. How angry should we be? However much you think you hate journalists, you don't hate them enough. These people want to see you broke. They want to see you lose your jobs. They want to see you have no entertainment you can actually enjoy. They want to see your kids raped and brainwashed, and they think it's funny. Do not let go of that anger. Journos hate. The amount of like circling the fucking wagons from game devs and journalists the past few days has been astronomically insane. And it brings me back to the Asmongold video where he tried saying, Sweet Baby just a scapegoat. He's wrong about that. Sweet Baby is a part of the disease that needs to be fucking key mode out of something. But he is right that Sweet Baby is just one of many, and many there are. These past 10 years, I don't know what the fuck I was doing, because, like, shit, it feels like I have not noticed nearly half as much as I needed to. But just the amount of people who have been indoctrinated that are now in game design is ridiculous. And there's always going to be those people that are just like, well, why do you care? And it's like, well, first of all, I like video games. And even if I didn't like video games, it's the same reason why I cared for the shit happening in comics. Do I read comics? No. Do I care about comics? No. I've never been a fan of cape shit, and I don't give a shit about Marvel or DC or any of the fucking comic book shit. But I could see them getting infiltrated, and I could understand why their fans were upset. It was a problem. It was part of the entertainment. And if you control the culture, you can control the children. And if you control the children, you control the future. And this is part of a concerted effort. It's not just about the ideologues in video games. It's not just about the ideologues in comics. They are everywhere. They are everywhere. They are in film, they're in games, they're in comics, they're in regular literature, revamping and rewriting old classic books for a modern audience. These people are everywhere, and do not let them tell you that you shouldn't care because it's a video game. Because it's not about the video game, it's about the culture. And part of controlling the culture is to co-opt literally everything. And that's what Bridge is doing. And if you have Bridge, using the companies that you buy products from, trying to embody this ideal, trying to give you this ideology that you cannot escape, and you say, well, I will turn to my forms of entertainment because I do not wish to engage. But when you go to your forms of entertainment, all of the movies are corrupt, all of the games are corrupt, all of the books are corrupt, all of the comics are corrupt. You have no escape. There is nowhere for you to go to escape this ideology. The time for I just want to be left alone ended more than 20 years ago. And if you still have the I just want to be left alone, why should I care about this mentality? You deserve to watch everything around you that you love crumble into nothing. Because you are spineless. And you have nothing you care about. You just want to be left alone ended in 1862. I'm so fucking mad, dude. I'm so fucking mad. Read recently that somebody got filtered by my powerful truth alert because it's too long. Get filtered, idiot. That's why you feel there's been a growth of consumption of independent media. People don't want shit forced down their throat. They want to have fun. I just wanted to play video games. You came for me. You radicalized me with your thoughts and opinions coming directly from your mouth, talking about how you want to get rid of everything and change everything I enjoy. So if you want to scream from the rooftops about the racist, xenophobic, homophobic, transphobic gamers, have fucking at it. No one's gonna believe you this time. Many such cases. Fraserburn, thank you for the $5. Indie development number 1, corpo development number 2. I physically refuse to work corporate in game design because of the bigwigs enabling this. Yeah, that's just like, Sweet Baby is not the only thing to pay attention to. Everyone at Sweet Baby should lose their jobs, should not work in gaming. But unfortunately, this is an issue that is prevalent outside of these consulting companies. There are game developers who will hire these people because they want that sweet, sweet ESG time, all right? There are developers that share in this blame. Why can I listen to this Fox rant? But I can't stand like 90% of YouTubers. It's the Parkinson's. The Parkinson's is endearing. Kelts Von Doom, thank you for the $2 doodles. You only watch Piepa, Kirsha, and Alex Jones. You're here now. What bullshittery did you miss? Oh my god. We're not gonna take your video games away, only to pause it. Oh my god. What's the point of a company like Sweet Baby anyway? And I feel like this is a perfect time to open this segment with another video from our good friends at beyond the 9 to 5, DEI after 5. Let me get this browser. Listening to these people speak is really fucking hard for me, right? Because, like, at some point, your brain just wants to turn off with all of the buzzwords, because they use so many words, and they say fucking nothing. My body rejects the DEI so viscerally it makes you hiccup. The fact that people are still trying to gaslight the whole, if you're against diversity, equity, and inclusion, you're just a racist. No! We like games with actual unironic diverse cast. Nobody had any problems with female main characters. Nobody had any problems with black protagonists. Nobody had any problems with a diverse cast in a game. The game that I recommend literally every fucking one of my friends to play, Song of Horror, has an unironic diverse cast. There's a fucking divorced woman. There's multiple Latinos. There's Russians. There's a black French guy. There's a black lady who works in archaeology, right? Like, they're unironic diverse cast. Nobody hates it. It's just because these ESG people can't create anything. They can only corrupt and destroy. And the machinations that they corrupt and destroy, or the machinations that result from it, rather, are garbage. They are a shadow of an imitation of what a good character could be. And they shove it in our faces and try to call us bigoted if we don't enjoy it. And it's like, I'm not going to play with your mud golem, you freak. I want something real. TF2 is one of the most popular and long-running games ever, and it's pretty diverse. Yeah. It's like, when people didn't think about these things, we enjoyed things. We shouldn't have to be thinking about it. And like, I see this discourse where like, oh, if Seamus was revealed today, and people would call it diversity nonsense. Like, no, I don't think they would.
Forget about Alex from Half-Life 2 from 2004.
I don't remember anything about Half-Life 2. The Golgothan, the shit demon. They also remove shit from older games. Yeah, Seamus. Yeah, I can't pronounce shit, chat. Fucking. Hello, wonderful Fox Lady and Fox Lady chat. Hello, Mocha Lady! I just want a good Spawn game or movie. Like, AI Simmons is black. Seems like a perfect character for everyone, but they just ruin it. I fucking. The cover for Prototype is like seared into my memory. I'd see that shit everywhere when I was younger. When food, she becomes Irish. That's why you only play old games that you can keep installation files on your external hard drives. I was like, the people, man, there was like one guy complaining about it, and he's just like, oh, you see, like people like if they have a black guy from LA, they can like consult me on how to write him. It's like, why do you need a black guy from LA in your game? As a woman who played games as a child, I could have fun with Gex. I could have fun with Titus. I could have fun with nondescript guy in fucking Grand Theft Auto. Like, it doesn't make sense. The one and only time I ever got happy about quote-unquote representation, and I didn't even think about it that way as a child, was in Pokemon, where you get to create your own character, you name your own character, right? When Crystal came out, and they finally added girl instead of just boy, I was like, hell yeah! Hell yeah, now this character that I name after myself actually is a girl. That's like the only time I ever got excited about it. Gamer Grill. Did I hear that all the Adult Swim games are getting delisted on Steam and PlayStation? I saw a tweet about that. I did not have time to talk about that today. Malvalon Creek Gorilla. How are you a gorilla living in a creek? Thank you for the $49.99. Thank you. Thank you. Play Gex, the same Gex that Scott the Woz likes a lot. I mean, maybe. I don't know what Scott the Woz likes. Kirshu and Pokemon Crystal. Wow, vagina haver. Malevolent Creek is space Vietnam. He's in the trees. Oh, okay, I understand. He's speaking Vietnamese. Say Gex. Yeah. You don't know, man, the word racist was invented by a communist, and before no one tripped over it, so maybe we're all just being taken for a wild ride. Well, I mean, you can be racist, right? Like, you, undoubtedly so. Men want to be like characters, women want to be characters. And I feel like that's a weird disconnect as well, right? If you have a well-written character, I was like, that should be something like, I don't know, you look at and feel good about, or maybe bad about if you like a bad character. I don't know. What emulator do I use for Azure Lane? I use Mimu. DRT is king, thank you for 5. In the end, those who are Fabian Society leftists will only quit when they're gone or victorious. That's why, like, I made a tweet, and a lot of people took it out of context. I quote retweeted, and actually, before I play it, fuck! I opened my other browser again. It's such a fucking reflex! It's such a fucking reflex to open my main browser! Fuck! Fox Woman and Technology mix as well as oil and water. Truly, dude. Truly. The problem is, are you a boy or a girl? The problem is body type A or body type B. Yeah, the new body type rewording is fucking weird, and I hate it. Danny D, thank you for the $9.99. Latinos are currently not okay! Your Twitter's on fire. More people are mourning the passing of Toriyama than the Queen. That doesn't surprise me. Might see a push for him to be canonized as a saint in Latin America. I would not be surprised. Please check my DMs. I'm checking. Nim.
Close the fucking tab, you psychopath.
My first monitor is stun locked now because I have to wait for the browser to finish loading so I can close it again.
God, I don't see how she even types
actually
with them
fucking
fingernails.
stun locked, dude. I think what you hate the most is that SF6 has A and B and a gender selector. What the heck?
Cheeseburger.
Jamesburger.
Wait a second. You aren't a man in a fox tuber. My world has changed. Who am I supposed to trust now? The government?
it lives rent-free in my head. Because I don't post when I go live on Twitter. And I don't talk about my streams too often on Twitter.
Dragon's Dogma 2 character creator is out. There is Booba Slider and Ass Sliders. Guys, it's gonna be okay.
I'm ready for the fucking ass sliders, dude. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. But, my browser is still stun locked. Okay, there we go. It finally loaded. It finally loaded, just so I can close it again. Her ass is sliding only on the biggest block of ice. I forgot what I was saying. I have no idea what I was saying before that happened. I have no idea what I was saying. Emperor Creatine, thank you for the $10. Lego did a study on play habits of boys and girls. Go figure. My girls were less interested in Lego. Turns out boys imagine themselves as a toy, while girls are the exact opposite. Big think. I also didn't like Legos when I was a kid, but I also don't like Minecraft for a very similar reason. I don't like choice. I like being told what to do. So when you give me like a giant bucket of like Legos and you're just like, here, have fun. I'm just like, yeah, that's not fun. If you give me a giant bucket of Legos and you were like, build a cabin, I'd be like, oh, okay. And then I would have fun with that. I made my own entire like Pokemon village complete with different story arcs in my room. But it's like, I don't know. I had like, you know, different personalities and stuff to already build off of. Get creative. Hayden, thank you for the $20. All the people saying if old thing was introduced today, it would be called woke diversity trash. Seem to be forgetting that they fostered that visceral reaction we have by giving us years.
Yeah, I guess Minecraft is basically just
unfortunately
electronic Legos.
They can't take responsibility for anything. Let me I guess go to my Twitter in this browser. Twitter. Because surely I'll be able to find it here. You like having a goal instead of having to make one yourself? Yeah, it was just like when I was younger, there were so many people that were just like, yeah, I want to just go out driving. You want to like go on a drive? And I'm like, well, is there a point to the drive? Like, are we gonna like are we gonna go look at like big houses or like the beach or like Christmas lights, or is there an end destination goal in mind? And they're just like, no, I just want to drive. And I'm like, why do we need to drive? Like, we could just like talk on the couch. Oh, I just feel it feels like a waste of gas to me. Queen, a morning sensei. What? You like single-player games because they got an end point? The point of the drive is that I'm Ryan Gosling. This was before that movie existed, chat. This was before that movie existed. So it seems like even Grums is deleting some of his tweets, which is really weird to me. I feel like you shouldn't delete that stuff, right? Don't delete your tweets. It makes you look like a weirdo. It makes you look like a weirdo. Where's my fucking browser? I literally just closed it. Are you kidding me? So he deleted his tweet where he was saying to not, like, interact with the journalists. And I agree with him, still, to this point. Because, like, directly interacting with any of these journalists that literally think you are gum on the bottom of their shoe isn't going to get you anywhere. But for some reason, when people read any memes, rational discussion, criticism, calling out for their actions will cause them to circle the wagons and call out my far-right chuddy buddies are being racist trolls again so that they can play victim. The way I worded it wasn't the best, so I could understand from this tweet why some people were thinking I was saying to just not interact with the entire thing wholly. But I tried to clarify. And I was like, since some people are misunderstanding, shine the light from heavens on those things that these people are doing. Showcase everything, because every time you do, they snarl like the rabid dogs they are. Just do not engage directly with them. They're disingenuous, they do not care about rational discussion, they'll use the attention to prove their merit to companies, and they'll try to spin things to make themselves the victims. If you directly interact with these journalists or sweet baby people, they will use your tweets to their companies to say, look, gamers are insufferable. Is this really the audience you want to court? Think of how you'll be canceled on social media if you cater to these people. Think of how much better you'll look if you're on the right side of history. They've already admitted to using fear tactics, so it's not like a great leap of faith that we have to assume this. We have copious amounts of proof from their mouths directly, and we cannot be gaslit into thinking otherwise. These are dyed-in-the-wool ideologues, not people who are dumb. And I think this is also a failing of a lot of people who talk about this, is that they assume all of these journalists and game developers are just dumb for believing in this stuff. They are not dumb. They are doing this on purpose. Believe your eyes, they do not lie. Do not let an insidious situation become normalized, which is, again, what they're trying to do. It's not just about video games, it's the overarching culture that they're trying to control. And video games is part of that. If they can inject their ideology there, if you get used to it, if you're complacent and say, well, I just don't care about this, they're going to win. They're going to be able to have far more influence than you ever could have imagined. They are dumb, but they know what they're doing. If they were dumb, we wouldn't be in this situation. They're not dumb. The ideology is for in-group loyalty. You're either in their club or you're someone to step on. Yep. Even though they'll invent a victim narrative anyways, it's best not to give them ammo. Yeah, I mean, obviously, they're gonna invent the victim narrative anyways, but giving them ammo by directly interacting is going to make their case a lot better, unfortunately. And so I think this is pretty much the best thing to do, is just keep talking about it. Don't let it die. Don't let them control the narrative as much as they want to. And just make fun of them for being retarded. Not directly to them, because that would be harassment that they can use, but obviously elsewhere. Increasing in-group bias is a huge problem, not just in entertainment, but it's annoying as hell. Yeah. Talk about the truth and what they're doing. Do not talk to them. Yes, exactly. They'll be so much, sweaty. That's not a good look, right? It's because Grums is engaging with them now. I mean, like, I can think of one way to engage with these types of people, but unfortunately, that is not something you can talk about in a civilized society. This really is Gamergate 2.0. I don't like calling it Gamergate 2.0, because Gamergate never stopped. Right? Like, we made fun of these people, and then we just stopped paying attention to what they were doing while they were embedding themselves into actual game development positions. Gamergate just never stopped. It's not 2.0. It just never stopped, even if you weren't paying attention. The ride never ends. Selka Alpaca, thank you for the 1,000 yen. Makes me think of when someone said to name a non-white VTuber that isn't female and not a part of the corpo as a jab. You named Shoto and Kenji, and they deleted the tweet. And it's just like, what a weird thing to say as well. What a weird all those, they're like, name a non-white VTuber that's not female, not part of a corpo. And it's like, what? Why do you have to add so much caveat onto that? Is it because you know the majority of VTubers are women? The majority of VTubers aren't white? Is that,
And that's all for the state.
Like half the VTubers are Asian, not white. I know. It's so weird. And Pippa's translucent. Game journals are calling it Gamergate 2.0. They want this conflict to grab more power from us and the game devs. They're going to use it to do more power grabs, right? Again, we're at the point where Bridge is shifting the definition of ESG. Bridge is saying ESG wasn't enough as marketing. It needs to be embedded in culture. And if Bridge is doing that in regular corporations for consumer products that you buy every day, something needs to happen in gaming as well, because all of these things are connected. They all work together. They all move together. The point is to encapsulate the culture so nobody can escape it, and you either give up or you just start agreeing. And so Gamergate 2, quote unquote, seems to be what the journalists are trying to do in this sphere. Do we get new outfits and special abilities for the sequel? What the heck? Sergeant Buck, named for $5. We found one historical example of a black samurai. ESG devs cherry pick harder than anti-vaxxer trying to prove the vaxtisms.
You can give me butt scratches! Like I'm a real pet!
But he is to hammer home to people how games journalists are not just a bunch of annoying political types. They're genuinely corrupt and organized doxing and harassment campaigns.
Yes.
They admit to intimidation tactics. Make people aware they are thugs.
It is unironically a, like, game developers and game journalists cry out as they strike you moment. They went after a lone Brazilian dude who made a Steam curation group. And not only did they call for mass reporting and brigading of his curation group, but they literally said outwardly, he seems to care about his games library. Let's take that away from him too. And this is the danger with everything being online. These people that seek to oppress you, these people that seek to have power over you, want you to own nothing. They want the ability to take everything you enjoy away from you whenever they deem you unfit to participate. Look up Spider from Spaceman? No, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't look at the man behind the curtain. It was a BR, a Brazilian being based for once. ESG already was a rebranding of corporate social responsibility. It goes through rebrandings every so often. The difference with Bridge, and I only call it Bridge because, like, there's no other way to reference it, right? The difference with Bridge and all of the other rebrandings is that they're moving away from doing it as marketing. Through all of the other rebrandings, it was just like, they inserted something in a show here, they did a marketing campaign here, they had focused marketing techniques to target different groups. They had all the companies join in like gay pride except for in the Middle East.
Piss off.
Right? Bridge is we've been monitoring the situation and we feel like it has not gone far enough. It is not to our comrades' liking. So, if we want the situation to be normalized, we must push a little farther. If we want to normalize these ideals in soft brains of American peoples, we must normalize these ideals as a part of their life that they cannot escape from. Right? Like Bridge is basically communist mafia. It's the communist mafia going more mask off. Calm the fuck down, Dimitri! You calm me down! DRT is king, thank you for the $5. In the grim darkness of the current day, we live in an era of unending culture war. We participate in this now or fall to them far later. For all the people, there are people who still say, well, I don't think this is a good idea, but I don't want to participate in any culture war nonsense. Baby, you've been in a culture war since probably before you were born. This war has been raging on since, like, the 40s, all right? I don't care that you don't want to participate in a culture war. You don't have a fucking choice. You're either going to have to make a stand for what you believe in and what you want, or you're going to get rolled the fuck over. I don't want to be ranting about disingenuous Marxist fucks who want me dead. I want to play video games, but unfortunately, because they don't want me to be able to do that, here I am. They're like, not enough people died for our cause. Exactly. Let me scroll this video back to the beginning. We can have our cool commie intro.
Welcome everyone to DEI After 5, the show that focuses on topics across diversity, equity, and inclusion with some of the brightest minds in the industry.
Only the brightest.
Here's your hostess, inclusive culture curator, and...
You better start believing in culture wars, Miss Turner. 'Cause now you see, you're in one.
Coach Sasha Thompson.
Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of DEI After 5. So, as we are continuing these conversations around
this is beyond parody. I wish it was.
To consultants and practitioners in this space, I thought it was really important for us to have a conversation about the work after the work, right?
The work is never done, chat. It needs to be a part of your life. If you don't believe in the ESG, you're not actually working.
We all know that this work is very difficult. I talk about it every episode about, the need to fill your cup. But I wanted to have a conversation about, why this work is so difficult, and how we continue the work even after we've clocked out of the 9 to 5. And so today, my guest is an in-house practitioner at a university. Her name is Aisha Gori Ozaki. I want to make sure I
never
get
heard
that
of
correct. And we're going to unpack, this conversation today. So Aisha, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Sasha.
So can you start off by telling folks a little bit about you and kind of how you got into this work?
Sure. So I have been in the work officially.
And for people who weren't here when I first went over all the bridge nonsense, Cheryl Daja, the CEO and creator of the Bridge Initiative, and the people who were monitoring how well DEI was going, the people who are now trying to embed DEI as a part of your life and lifestyle, this is the channel those videos were on. So these are like the people talking about where they want to go with ESG and what this should mean as a part of your life. For creatine, thank you for the $5 doodles. Remember that Fidel Castro never stopped wearing his army fatigues up until the day he died because the revolution never ends. These people want to push this so hard you almost want to jump off a bridge. I know.
Actually, for about 10 years. And I always sort of talk about the transition to the work. I left higher ed. I was in higher ed for about 18 years and made...
That's horrifying. That this woman was in education for 18 years and you're... the shit that's gonna come out of her mouth, man.
The transition into the corporate space in a diversity, equity, and inclusion role. And at the time I thought, oh boy, you're really selling your soul.
Behind the subtitles, Northwestern University Director, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion.
You're going, to the for-profit world. And it was the opportunity for me to be able to make my work that I was doing through volunteer work, through professional associations, through community, and it became my day job. And so that was really through advice of even a really good friend who's like, why don't you make this your day job? And I wasn't entirely sure what that would look like. And so I started that transition. It's probably 12 or 15 years ago, and then made the switch about 10, and have been in that work now for that long. I recently switched back to higher ed, so in the higher ed academic space as a diversity.
But it's okay. She wasn't really selling her soul by going to a for-profit corporate job, because she's on the right side of history. You see, she's got the way to make people be better. See, she's a good person, chat.
Equity, inclusion, justice, belonging practitioner, and that's sort of the way that I got here.
And it's so funny because anytime I talk to someone who's in higher education, I'm like, oh, I started in higher education. So I get that. I understand that world really, really well. So, as we were preparing and talking about this, and we were thinking about, okay, what could this topic be? And what I wrote down was like, it's the work after the work. And how for so many people, it's continued, right? It's not just 9 to 5 is done. Let me, take off this hat that I wear and move on to this other part of my world. It really is blended. And so talk to me a little bit about that kind of, it's a line that's not even there really for so many people.
Right. I think there's sort of multiple spaces with this, right? On the one hand, how we got to this work, right? So for many of us, it's through lived experience. It's through maybe our own
Sorry to hear about
complex
your pussy.
navigation within the society or the culture that we were either born in or live in or raised in or working in, whatever that may be. And then in some ways, it's also, I talk about this with the people that I work with. I may be with you because of my job. So in other words, I'm tasked with providing a certain set of services or resources.
See, this is like where my eyes glaze over, because it's just like, she just says so much shit, but like, what is she saying? I was like, you are using so many words, lady, but like none of it is making sense. Corpo speak, right? Even the USSR didn't have this level of brainwashing. Well, again, back in the 80s, when Bezmenov warned us about what had happened in our country and his predictions for what would happen, everything he predicted has been correct thus far. He said that the propaganda worked in America beyond what any of them in the KGB thought was possible.
Or helping people expand their thinking or learning, whatever, or unlearning and relearning. And also,
what does she mean by unlearning and relearning? What is this subversive language?
If you go sort of beyond
brainwashing,
that, it's this idea that, well, it's great that we do this between 9 to 5 or 10 to 6, whatever people's schedules are. I find it to be much more beneficial if somebody's living that in their, whether they're...
It's not enough that you are pushing the tenets of DEI while you are at work. You must believe it. You must practice the DEI you've learned at work, outside of work. It needs to be part of your life. Become re-educated.
At home or not at home, but when they are in their world, because actually work would benefit, right? So what we do during the day, I hope is beneficial, and I certainly believe in the value of that work. I also think, like, if people go either turn off their computer or return home or air in their communities and nothing's really changed, then that's where it's this, well, it's great that we do it between these windows or with...
What kind of change do you want people to make, though? Like, why do you want everyone to be some sort of weird ideological preacher even in their free time? You've already shut down your... It's so hard to not shut down your brain, dude. It's so hard to listen to this kind of slop.
In this context, but have we really created the social or cultural or community shifts that ultimately, I believe, will benefit the broader society and world and community? And that...
Everybody wants to do stuff that benefits their community and their world, but if you have to be reminded, you must act this way to be a good person, and if you step out of line, we will end you. It's not really the best way to go about doing that, in my opinion. They want everyone to become a free Discord mod, but in real life, right? Northwestern has a Let This Radicalize You student learning group event. What the fuck? What the fuck?
That's where I think, like, there's sort of this, almost like this, we rub close to it, but we just can't get there.
Yeah.
And so when you think about it, like if for any of us who live the work, which can be problematic as well, because then when are you taking, rest or care? But
it's hard for us to take this mental toll of having to do the work. And until I heard her say this nonsense, it never made sense to me when people would make some sort of wild statement or some sort of wild claim, and someone else would come in and be like, hey, do you have evidence of this? Do you have proof? Can you show me where this is happening? And they're just like, it's not my job to educate you. I don't need to do that emotional labor. I always thought that was hilarious and really dumb, but apparently these are the people who say that shit are the ones who are living the work and doing it constantly. Roll out the new AI. Tell them to roll it out. What the heck? Everything is racist. Everything is sexist. And it's your job to point it all out. And we've been mocking that for years. But unfortunately, while we've been mocking that, they've been embedding it into culture. And more people have been taken for this fucking ride, dude. A pickled cucumber. DEI 101, create and string together as many buzzwords as possible, and you're a genius if anyone disassembles your logic. They're racist. Ooh, woo.
also, when you're living the work, you're engaged in it in all aspects of your life, not just at work. So I don't know if that helps kind of make some of the distinctions a little bit.
Absolutely. I mean, the word that came to me as you were speaking was embodied. Right?
And I like that she used embodied because I keep saying entrenched in company culture so that they can spread it not just within their company and make it unavoidable, but also change the perspective of their consumers. I think embodied is a better way to put that, unfortunately. My keyboard's being weird. It's floating. What the fuck? There we go. I had a bottle cap underneath it.
It goes beyond just checking the box of I went to this DEI training, checking the boxes to how are you embodying, what you are learning and experiencing.
And the North Face did something pretty interesting recently. The North Face, the outdoors company that, you see all the jackets of in New England and shit, they started doing a get a 20% off coupon if you take this diversity, equity, and inclusion online course. And even for a 20% off coupon, I don't think I want to check those boxes. I don't want to give them any metrics. I don't want to give them any idea that anyone buys into this bullshit. And there are people who are going to take it seriously, right? They're going to be like, oh, I'm just going to check the box. But they're going to read it, and it's going to internalize in them. You are not immune to propaganda. Why bother when you can just steal the jackets? I don't live in California.
That Christians should try to do God's work at all times, in their work and personal lives. If you sell cars fairly in a Christian way. This is the same thing, except their God is the NGO state complex.
It's I guess on the selling fairly thing, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing when it comes to buying a house, right? I know I need to hire an inspector guy. I don't trust, right? Oh, I almost spilled nail polish all over myself because I'm playing with a bottle. I don't trust real estate agents. I would prefer to buy a home without an agent. And I looked up some stuff, and basically looking up how to buy a house without an agent, everyone on Reddit says no. No, don't do that. You don't know enough. You think you might know enough, but you can't buy a house without an agent. Literally you can, but actually you shouldn't. And these are all the reasons why. And I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Why do I not trust Asians? Excuse me, most real estate agents are alcoholic, divorced white women? I don't want to hear that. I'm going to Reddit. I didn't go to Reddit for advice. It was just the first thing that popped up. And it was weird to me that so many people were filleting the real estate agents and saying that you shouldn't buy a house without them. Because it's even before I knew that car salesmen were also basically the devil, as a child growing up, I learned never trust real estate agents. They are trust your bank more than you trust a real estate agent. There is no real estate agent on the planet that will not lie to you constantly. Real estate agents protect themselves like a cult? Yeah. So, I wanted to engage the person who owns the home instead of a real estate agent. And one of the houses I was interested in, I contacted an agent, And they were very snarky and bitchy to me in response. So I was like, well, fuck you then. So now I want to try and like reach out to the homeowner and just be like, hey, homeowner, my name's Kirsha and I'm interested in your house. I had a really bad experience with an estate agent who was trying to sell your property, and I would rather just deal with you instead of them. But I'm also a terrified, anxiety-ridden woman, so I am really scared about calling an old person with this prompt and them just being like, this is an obvious scam. They're trying to get my credit card information. So I'm just like, I don't know what to do, dude. Their lobbying group is directly responsible for China owning property in the USA. You fell down that rabbit hole 2 weeks ago? Jesus. Do not redeem. You work with the real estate agents all the time. They're just horrible. That's a hard sell to a home seller. I know. If you don't have that accent, they'll probably listen. Do not forget to look in the meme Discord. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Ask my dad to talk to them for you. He bought a house before. He'll know how to handle it. I mean, maybe. Maybe. That should be considered treason. Oh, man. Speaking of, Canada is no longer one of the richest countries in the world. Doesn't surprise me, unfortunately.
What does that look
A little
like
side
outside
tangent.
of this place that is going to compensate you for this work, right? How are you checking the folks that are at your dinner table?
Right.
Or in your homes or communities, like outside of...
What do you mean checking the people that are at your dinner table? How fucking insufferable do you have to be at a dinner with like your family or your friends and you're just like, so what have you done to deconstruct white colonization this week? Like, get the fuck out of my house, you freak! Like, what? Who does that? Not even your family is safe? Trust no one? Yeah, that's just like all the people that reported their families for being present on January 6th, you know? That is the kind of world that they want.
Aw, that's
Hey,
cute.
Robertson, thank you for $5. When Donnie T was president, you believed the exact opposite of what the media circus said, and that was correct 50% of the time, but believing them would be 0.
Give me butt scratches! Like I'm a real pet! Butt scratches!
Real estate agents have way more liability than you think. They can be sued for literally anything. If you deal with an agent that acts like a dick, find a different office or contact their broker. They walk on eggshells constantly.
It doesn't feel like they walk on eggshells constantly from my experience just in the last month alone. God damn! But thank you for the $5, almighty lolly. Spotted the real estate agent! Oh my god, reminds me of the pamphlets that help college students go home for Thanksgiving to confront and berate their conservative relatives. Right, dude? It's just, that's so fucking weird to me.
This work. Because that could be very scary, right? And there's probably even more accountability outside of the workplace than there is inside of work.
Shut up! Silly woman.
And so that's the word that just came to me as you were talking. And it's funny because I was listening to, or I was kind of flipping through TikTok.
I got a tab for TikTok today.
Didn't have other stuff to do,
Oh,
but
God.
was doing that and fell down that rabbit hole. And it was just
Oh god,
one
I keep
guy,
playing with this metal cap and my hands are gonna
talked
smell
about
like
a white guy
pennies.
that was talking about being a keynote speaker at this event, and he was sitting at a dinner table, like, you know, kind of the networking thing, and someone started, one of the leaders, another white male, started to tell a joke that
Who
he's
cares
like, "I can
about
immediately
their
tell it's
race
gonna
or
have racial
gender?"
undertones, and the punchline was going to be a black person, right? He was like,
Was it going to be a black was it going to be targeted to a specific black person? If yes, was it a friend of the guy who was speaking? Because you guys are all at some sort of benefit dinner? Was it going to be some sort of generic joke? Like, can you explain this a bit more than just some vague things that totally definitely happened for 400, Alex? Like, can you give me more information?
I can immediately sense that and tell that. And he's like, I have a decision to make in this moment. Do I kind of ignore it and, halfway laugh at it, or do I stop it? And he was like, that was probably one of the most difficult decisions, to make, because now you're risking your social capital.
Oh my
in order
God.
to speak up. And he's like, you may lose friends.
I don't think it's risking social capital very much. Or like your friends, like she's about to say, maybe, because your friends are going to be like, wow, what a fucking buzzkill. But you're going to get all of the ass pats on social media. Right? Everyone's going to be like, wow, look at this white savior standing up for black people's sensibilities because a joke about a black person would be terrible. I was like, they might risk immediate social capital, but they're going to forget about those friends who think they're a fucking weirdo real quick once they get all of that social media praise. We can't have a sense of humor anymore. Not allowed. Not allowed to have a sense of humor. Did Twitch update its privacy policy? Every stream you've opened has had the warnings before the video starts and warnings in chat? I don't know. I don't know.
Friends, you may, all of those things, but embodying the work, right? I'm here as a keynote speaker to talk about, how white men show up in diversity and inclusion. This happens. What do I do?
Yeah.
Right. And
what do you... I don't understand the question.
So it just kind of made me think about, what you were saying. It's not just checking the box to say I know the knowledge. It's how do I action this every single day?
How exhausting.
Right.
So
how exhausting it must be to have to like think about how do I do this stuff constantly in order for my cult to not oust me for not doing enough, because silence is not just compliance, it's also violence.
I think that's just a beautiful way for us to, or well, I can't even say beautiful way. I think that it's the evolution. Going back to what you said earlier, an evolution of where we need to go and what organizations need to do. Right? It's not just checking that box, but how does this look day to day?
Yeah, I have to ask. What did he do? Did he say?
He said he spoke up.
Oh, good.
Oh, of course
yeah.
he did.
So that's where when you live into it, and the first time is probably, I'm sure if that happened to be the first time for that person, it can feel
everyone
disorienting or uncomfortable, maybe even empowering, uplifting, and then figuring out ways to just live that way all the time. And again, we're all going to mess up. People are always like obsessed with the perfection, and it's like, look, it's not about the perfection.
Yeah, they're all going to mess up. Don't worry about the perfection. It's okay that they said the N-word 6 years ago, but if you do it, you need to lose your job and be exiled.
But it is about a commitment, and that commitment is unwavering. And we're going to learn every day about a new community or a new group or a new set of language or whatever it is that we need to do better.
A new set of language,
and just keeping that open mind and perspective to saying, like, how we've done it is not the way we're likely going to be doing it the rest of our lives. And so it's nobody, I don't think anybody has ever said this work was easy that I'm aware of.
Or if they did, they're not doing the work.
They're not doing.
Yeah, that's definitely not easy to change the entire culture of a country to be some Marxist shithole. That's true. They are correct about that. It's a lot of work to stop people from thinking individually.
His name is John C.
Hell yeah. But none of them are married or happily married. Can the new language not be English so that I don't need to listen to them? It's okay to mess up. Aren't these the same people who will attempt to put a scarlet letter on anyone who makes the slightest mistake? Yes. Yes, they are. J.K. Rowling is probably the perfect example of that.
The work, yeah, unfortunately, right? And they're not living it. And again, not from the perspective of one shouldn't have, some lines between sort of how we live, but I guess I mean work in all of the spaces, and it's not just like our day job, so.
And it's so interesting. I mean, one of the things that I'm also learning through this is, though I've been doing this work for a very long time, to your point, you're still learning, you're still growing. There's something new every single day. And so the flip side of that is allowing grace when people make mistakes, right? This whole, I'm going to cancel you, I'm just going to totally dismiss you, doesn't help in the process of learning and unlearning. It actually ostracizes people in some ways to buckle into what their beliefs are versus challenging them in some ways. And so that's one of the things that I'm really starting to grapple with is, what does grace look like in this space when I've caused harm?
Right.
And how much grace should I be afforded?
That's a really weird thing to say. What does she mean, how much grace should she be afforded? And when she's caused harm? But she's still trying to make you believe something different. Like, you're still wrong. But she's like, yeah, I've upset you with the things that I say. But instead of canceling you, you need to learn why what you did was wrong. Sounds like religious talk. James Foss, thank you for the 5. Remember the vid of the black chick who tried to hold on to the white dude for having dreads? You're 90% sure you went to school with her? Which video? I'm pretty sure there's multiple of that.
And if that grace isn't given, how do I then sit with that? Right. And so to me, that's also part of this embodiment. Right? This is part of this empowering, ourselves to grow in ways and places. And it's uncomfortable. It is so freaking uncomfortable.
Oh my God, this lady needs to fucking get empowered up her ass.
Yes. I take this quote from the place that I heard it is the place that I...
Don't worry about it. They're beating you for your own good. That's where the growth happens. You'll be better for it.
Work out. So it's not the same context, but one of the ladies always saying, if it's not challenging you, it isn't going to change you, right? And I think that's the thing, right? We get so disoriented by the uncomfortability that we can't actually focus on what's necessary, what maybe should never have happened in the first place or is incorrect, rather
what does she
than
mean by that?
feeling like that makes us feel badly.
I'm not sure which one I want to use.
We attach the wrong meaning or message to it instead of actually focusing on we didn't have the right information, and maybe that information was controlled and it wasn't because of us being not good or not, but now that we have a different lens or a broader lens, or
this is some weird, like, my actions didn't cause consequences. I'm not less of a good person because of it. This is just like religion without an actual God. It's very strange to hear. What are they talking about? Yeah, like I said, it's really hard to keep focused when they just start buzzwording out of their minds. And they say a whole lot of words that have a whole little meaning.
More ways of receiving information, that we now have a different responsibility and potential accountability in terms of how we can live into what should be happening in the first place or should never have happened. It doesn't mean that we can't learn and we can't, somebody recently had asked me something like, but don't you think people are just being like overly sensitive? And I thought, well, that's an interesting perspective. Let's ask, is that what we think is happening? Or is it because what we're categorizing as oversensitivity is really our resistance to doing the thing that maybe is now expected of us?
The resistance to doing the thing that is now expected of us. So people who are resistant to living the embodiment of the work that needs to be done with DEI outside of their actual jobs. They're the ones who are overly sensitive. And that oversensitivity is because they're resistant to doing that work? What are you... What? Postmodernism has no standards. It lets them literally have a religion with no God. Expected by who? Well, I mean, expected by everyone, obviously. You want to be a good person, don't you? Man, this is a Wendy's! So much roundabout speaking. Would I ever consider debating one of these types of people? You think it would be nice to hear them get grilled in real time instead of talking in their echo chamber? I mean, I had a conversation about this with Kerbifer, because in the voice acting industry, there was the big push for identity-based hiring, where like only the people who are the same skin color of a character or the same sexual identity as a character can voice act that character. And that was something that he agreed with at the time. And so we had a conversation about that. I wouldn't mind talking to certain people. I don't think I would be intelligent enough to navigate the kind of subversive language that comes from these people who are in the top trying to promote this stuff, I don't think I would be intelligent enough to, in real time, understand and counter their subversion. Debating is usually pointless because they don't even have the internal consistency. There's no logic to understand. It's just a goal to win. I mean, I could try. I could certainly fucking try, but I don't think I am good on a debate stage. I am much better being able to, like, try and understand something at my own pace. Which is why sometimes I have to rewind, because I'm like, what the fuck did they just say? That's a James Lindsay mission? Yeah. Gradually you'll begin to hate them.
It's because it challenges how we were raised or how we've succeeded so far, you know, and who's been afforded success or access or, you know, all the things that, you know, and depending on our experience, we may have had some access to it, we may have had no access to it, we may not even want it.
Yeah.
Others have had unchecked, unchallenged access, right? So, you know, and I think you also were saying this notion of like call in versus call out. Yeah. And I just was talking with somebody who was sharing a really powerful experience and also sort of how one has to manage when you're thinking about your history, and particularly when that history has been suppressed in some ways out of just survival.
What is she talking about?
It's actually hard. You just ask what does that mean and can you say what you mean without using that word repeatedly, and they start hemming and hawing because every concrete example of what they want to do sounds awful.
That's true. That's true and real. She's just saying words to hear herself speak. I was just like, what? I genuinely am confused at like what the fuck she is trying to say. I don't wanna. What do you mean that your history's been suppressed in some ways out of survival? I was just like, what do you mean? I'm not out here thinking of like, I need to suppress the French Revolution because it can affect my day-to-day life in current year. What? I don't get it, dude.
You know, and now if a person is ready to kind of share some of those stories or experiences and kind of unpack it, you know, having that.
She's talking about like somebody who experienced something in their life having to repress it because it was traumatic instead of being able to unpack it, I suppose. But like, what does that have to do with embodying the work of like dismantling this weird, I don't even know what to call it, right? Like, they just want to dismantle like everything at this point. I can't even say like just the patriarchy or just white people, because it's just like, what? Suppress the French Revolution, reject the metric system. Potentially criminal, they give you the $2 equality equation. Isn't math racist? It is. It is. These people are kind of fucking nuts. I hope you enjoy the ride.
Time to reflect and to think about how are you or this person, you know, going to talk about that, and then what's the impact on other folks who now have to think about, wait, that happened to you? That still is happening, right. You know, and the reality is, and I tell people this at work all the time, if somebody's telling you this one thing that happened to them, you can pretty much get, if you go into a, well, are you sure? And they're so, you know, we go into this like defensive, you know, but if they're telling you that one thing, the likelihood of it having happened more times than they can even believe, fathom, imagine, and probably have put away for so long, like.
So is this a good time to bring up like when I got promoted at my insurance job and that black woman stood up and in front of all of my coworkers said she only got the promotion because she's white, and then my manager had to actually explain why I got the promotion, and I just felt really fucking weird, right? Was this woman saying that because that happened once, then I can then extrapolate and assume that the other black people who were there thought the same thing? Is that what I'm getting from this? Shh. The fuzzy man is here. Yeah, the fuzzy man.
Just listen.
Yeah.
Accept.
Yeah. And that's kind of that the choice of gaslighting. Right. Because it is a choice. You can listen, you can understand, you can
you should listen, but you shouldn't believe without proof, right? Like people constantly will go on social media and be like, I'm getting death threats, and it's like, okay, well, show them where the death threats at. You gonna show us those death threats? Live your truth. The choice of gaslighting, such projection. It's amazing, isn't it?
Support, right? But as soon as you question someone's experience, right, then now they feel like, okay, well, you don't believe me, or I did something wrong, right? Like, so there's this gaslighting that takes place where there's no ownership of kind of what has happened.
Who needs to take ownership? What does she mean?
You said earlier that made me think of, when people get defensive in these in moments, it's part of that is a mirror up to their values and beliefs, right? They've held on to these values and beliefs for so long. It's what I got from my grandmother and what I got from my family, all of these things. And as soon as there's something that runs counter to that, that's where the rub begins. And so I appreciate what you were saying about like broadening your perspective and broadening that lens, because the truth that you have always believed may not be the full truth, may not be the full picture.
That is really ironic coming from these people, when the majority of like fake hate crimes and fake rape or fake sexual assault accusations continuously come typically from one side.
My thoughts are all glow. I hope these people lose everything and go on a commie diet of imaginary food.
I agree. I agree. People who are pushing this shit are just absolutely insane to me. And it's again crazy that nobody really talks about Bridge. Nobody knows this channel. Like, this video has friggin' 22 views. And these, not necessarily these two people, but they have guests on, like Cheryl Dyja, who are big names in this field. There's only one truth. Individual truth is just wrong.
And so sometimes it does take some self-reflection and understanding of where did this belief come from and what is it rooted in order for me to truly understand, okay, this is maybe not the best way to do things, right? And that's hard. That's really hard.
How much energy and work and time is somebody able to put into that, or willing, right? And I think, I think some of us in this practitioner space often are bringing people something new, something different, trying to kind of shift perspective or understanding, as a way of helping, somebody think about something differently. And, any of us who've done this work, I mean, we could probably have a separate conversation about how often somebody sits kind of like looking at you.
Projection so hard.
Sometimes it shows up in their physical body language. Sometimes it just shows up in the dismissive messaging or ignoring of an email or whatever it is. Like we all can probably find a variety of ways that we have either been questioned, challenged, dismissed, over whatever, talked over, all of the things that happen. And then when you watch somebody who's actually like stopping and reflecting and thinking and challenging, and then they're like, oh, and I read this thing, or then they start sending you articles, or they start saying to you like, oh, it happened at, my so-and-so's soccer game or whatever thing in their world. And when they notice it in their world, or when that proximity, now the question that I often raise in all the spaces I occupy in is like, just as humans, we're sort of wired for the proximity to help us sort of drive our willingness to make a shift or a change, right? Like, how close are we? Oh, it's affecting me now. Now I care about it. But what if we challenge that proximity?
These women are hard to listen to.
They are.
I can't. Love your stuff, Toe.
I understand what she's saying when it comes to proximity. People only think about what happens directly in front of them. And this is a problem regardless of the beliefs of the person. But what they're trying to do to get people to notice things outside of their proximity is like a weird cult-like behavior instead of just a think of things that are happening outside of your immediate area and how you can have an effect on them politically, right? Like, things that are happening elsewhere don't just affect me once they get to me. I have to care about the elsewhere, because eventually it's going to come to me, and it'll be too late at that point to really do much about it. This timeline sucks! They say that, but then they buy iPhones for their whole family. It's just like... It's not even about the iPhones, man. These women give you the impression that they just want another racial division. I mean, that's basically what people have been trying for. You switched... You couldn't stand the communists? Well, you don't need to say that in chat, you fucking weirdo.
Say, it doesn't matter if it affects me or my community or my family. I care because it's really important for me to know, and that like when we challenge the nature of sort of how we
I want to read that one.
Our
Just think, chat. These folks would be burned as witches at one point. I want to go back to that time.
Maybe the people burning witches weren't so bad after all. That's
wired,
a joke.
I guess, you know.
Yeah.
Imagine then the opportunity, right? And sometimes I think it's so overwhelming that people get kind of like, oh, I don't know where to start, so I'm just not going to do anything.
It's butt time.
Shut down.
You know, okay, that's one way. I mean, you know, that is one way. And, you know, we try to operate in sort of
Sometimes I think people forget that we as a people should focus more on our communities in front of us rather than take on the world. It really doesn't work, emo.
We should absolutely be focusing on our communities, but a problem is that we don't have communities like we used to anymore. The division between men and women had been sown decades before most of us in chat probably were here, right? The 70s and the Equality Act solidified the wedge between men and women that was what the USSR also used, right? And because of the way that America is made up, they could also divide us along racial lines and not just sex lines like they did previously. And so instead of focusing on our immediate communities and having a tight-knit community where everybody trusts each other and everybody gets along decently well for the most part, right? You're always going to have the outliers. You're always going to have the criminals and the shitty people. But on a political scale, you still have to care about what happens outside of your immediate community. Just because you live in a society, as it were. You have to pay attention to what the federal government is doing policy-wise. You have to pay attention to what other states are trying to pass policy-wise. Even if you can't do something specifically about what's happening in other states, you have to know the direction things are going in, because it will eventually come to your front door. So, like, I can agree that you have to have some sort of, not presence, but, like, understanding of what's happening on a greater scale than just your community. But, yes, you should be caring about your community first and foremost above anything else. Racial and sex lines were divided by far-right conservatives. Sure, there are leftists who do the same, but most conservatives, like with the Alabama law about embryos, have already separated. I mean, in America, we have a uniparty, so a lot of the conservatives in Congress and whatnot are also not working towards anything anybody really cares about. They're all warmongers who want to profit off of other countries' wars. But, no, racial and sex lines were divided by the far left, by communists, by Marxists, back starting in the 40s, if not earlier, but to my knowledge, the 40s. Microscale shitstorm. Hello, Flamingo Man. Stop noticing. You don't want me to be suicided. Your community doesn't exist. Nobody works where they grew up anymore. It's expected to move around for work. It's difficult to have some sort of community in current year for amalgamation of reasons, but, you know. Foxu, yeah. It's that type of channel, got it. An anti-SJW channel. Well, social justice warrior was also a term coined by communists, so yes, if you are anti-communist, you are anti-SJW just by default, because anyone calling themselves that is quite literally a Marxist. You just want to be left alone. I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. Tiger Knight, thank you for the 500 biddies. The more time an employee spends explaining how necessary their job is, the less important their position is. Yes, exactly.
To have, you know, a judgment-free space, and also, like, what are we not what is no longer negotiable, right?
Yeah.
What is non-negotiable in these conversations? And some of that might be, we're not questioning the experience of individuals who are coming from minoritized or marginalized backgrounds, or we're not gonna minimize those any longer, and we're not gonna sort of overly, what's the word that's
I don't have
you know,
anything insightful to say, or even a joke. I just donated so Ish can pause this god-awful video. So I guess hi, Ish. Like Ish.
Thank you for the $5, Breezy.
You have to keep telling the story over and over, and then it's just more pain.
Right.
On top of, re-traumatization.
And don't question them. You might re-traumatize them if they have to explain the evidence of what happened.
No need for that. And we believe the experience, and we recognize that if we're hearing about it once, the likelihood of its being there more is bigger. And
also, that seems kind of weird. How can you say if it's happened once, the likelihood of it having happened multiple times is like a surefire thing? That seems really strange to me, to just be like, oh, it happened once, therefore it always happens. I don't know. That seems really strange.
You know, we all have a different way of doing it, and we've got to do better. And I know we can. It's just how we do it, you know, and how we live it. And
you know, I love what you said about the proximity piece of it, because I think that's so important, and that's where empathy comes in. And you know, I talk a lot about leadership and this post-pandemic workplace, and empathy is one of those leadership capabilities.
Notice how it went from let's have a conversation to shut the fuck up and listen? Yeah, it's like, we want to have a conversation and you need to be educated, but it's also not our job to educate you, and also just believe. Don't ask for explanations or proof, because that's traumatizing. Just believe.
That is no longer a nice to have. Like, you have to have some level of empathy as a leader. And you know, to see so many folks, and I mean, I've facilitated for years, and to see exactly what you said, the crossed arms of the people that are checked out, and
this white woman is tiptoeing so hard trying not to step on the black one. It's kinda sad. How miserable are these people, Earl?
I recall very clearly doing a facilitation where this gentleman, I mean, he was shut down. Like, there was nothing that we could say that will change his mind on this, because his thought process was he didn't believe that people had different experiences.
Yeah.
Right? He's like, oh, it's all.
For some reason, I don't believe this. Even the people who are unable to think about how they'd feel if they had breakfast this morning can still understand that people think differently from them. They might not be able to understand why someone thinks differently from them, but they still understand that there are people who are not them, who have different realities that they believe in, quote unquote. And so it's really weird for her to be like, I was in a facilitation and this man just refused to believe that others could think differently from he. And it's like, I feel like you're not giving me the full story here, lady.
In everyone's head. But when we changed it, and what we would do is we would talk about it from different aspects of identity. When we shifted it.
He didn't believe people had different experiences equals he considered objective reality important.
Imagine considering objective reality important. What are you, some kind of bigot?
To disability? It turned a light bulb on for him, because his wife was in a wheelchair. And he talked about how he had to navigate through Disney in a way that was very different. He was like, you know, they try to make it as accessible as possible, but they're...
Wait, you mean this will pause the pain? Well, how are you doing? The streaming life glamorous?
They used an emotional weakness.
And his name is John
That's so fucking weird! Oh my god, that was so loud! John Cena! Why are you so loud? This guy's full of shit. You went to Disney with your disabled sibling as a kid and we got to skip in line. It was fucking great! I was like, I wonder if this man is just as real as her previous example of like a white dude at some sort of fancy dinner interrupting a speaker to be like, you cannot tell a joke. about black people. Wheelchair equals super fast track in line.
Maybe a different route that we have to take, or you know, and he talked about that, and it was like watching snow melt. Because I was just like that. It was just bringing that proximity, you know, to someone that he loves that has experienced this.
Yeah.
Right. And so, you know, again, and just talking about access to buildings. Are there ramps? Is there an elevator that works? You know, all of those things.
I also don't understand how they're equating someone with a physical disability who needs like a physical ramp to get inside of a building because of their wheelchair has anything to do with like equity and giving these people money. I don't see the connection, if I'm being honest with you. Like, are they saying that their skin color is the wheelchair, and thus they have been disabled through no fault of their own, and the wheelchair ramp that this disabled person needs are the reparations that they must get in the forms of monetary equity and being given positions that they might not be qualified for? Like, I just do not... She's creating a made-up story with grift factors that she can project her fantasy land on it. If you don't let them skip to the front of Disneyland, you're a bigot. That's just like, what the... That's pretty bigoted of you to not understand the plight of the Disney World wheelchair woman. What the heck?
And I mean, when I tell you it was night and day, it absolutely was, because then we were able to help him tap into that empathy and that experience to say, now think about the other things that other people have to navigate.
Yes.
Right? When you may think it's very easy because you don't have to navigate, right? So now we're talking about levels of privilege.
Oh, okay.
Now we're talking about, you know, all of those things, access, you know.
The levels of privilege that mean our politicians like Elizabeth Warren want to identify as Native American because it gives her an advantage, or people like Rachel Dolezal want to identify as black because it gives her an advantage, or how you're told if you're going to apply for state health care, maybe you shouldn't self-report your ethnicity if you're white. Privileges like that. Must be hard navigating, I know. Empathy, too much empathy is what got us here in the first place.
Ability to access resources, et cetera, you know. So that actually is a really good segue into my next question. I segued myself. So let's talk about privilege, right?
Oh God, it's time.
There are folks in this work, and this might hurt some feelings, but there are some folks in this work that have the privilege of turning this work off at the end of the day. And there are others that don't. And so as you're as you're doing this work and you're talking to folks that have that privilege, and we touched on it a little bit, but what are some things that, you know, they really need to be mindful of, or they need to be cognizant of as they're doing this work? Because
so the people who have the privilege of turning this work off after work need to do better, and we're gonna learn how those people need to do better.
Again, you can't turn this. You shouldn't be able to turn this off.
Yeah,
you shouldn't be able to turn it off. Oh
thing,
no,
right?
dude.
And I think our degrees of privilege probably might amplify our ability to sort of be more entrenched in the work or not at different times, right? I mean, so it just may depend. And I may come back to actually this notion of proximity, which is something that's just been playing in my head for a really long time. And we know proximity is used, I mean, even like, I think Brian Stevenson does a really lovely thing about proximity, right? Like when you put yourself in the position of getting to know somebody who maybe has housing instability issues or financial instability issues, or is incarcerated, or, you know, fill in kind of the minute we put ourselves outside of what has been our maybe.
I think people can relate and be empathetic about that, but it's when you start bringing identity into it and saying certain people deserve more empathy than others is where we have the problem.
We kind of lived experience, and also we don't know everybody's lived experiences, so somebody may...
Also, yeah, that's a good point. She said housing instability issues instead of homelessness. I guess housing instability, quote unquote, could be more than just homeless. It could be someone who has trouble paying their rent. Like the seething V-tweeters who spend all their money on skebs and then have to ask for emergency donations for rent.
Have had some of those experiences and now is in a different situation. Or, you know, I was telling a story recently, and I'll come back to but it just reminds me of this. We were having a conversation with some work that we do in the community, and we sometimes will take out groups with us to do some of this community work, and it's, you know, evenings and weekends and whatnot.
The kids outside instead.
And one of the things we hear the most frequently is, everybody was so nice, or everybody was, you know, whatever the and this is not a judgment on that observation. Right. This is more a notation on what we have been fed.
Yeah.
Interesting choice of words.
You know, generally, I think unconsciously, I don't think most of us, it's a conscious feeding, if you will, and yet it really lives and takes up a lot of space in our head or our heart or our life. And so then when you have some direct connection to the thing that challenges what we have been fed and what we've consumed, consciously or unconsciously, you know, it then makes us say, I wonder, you know.
That's an interesting way to put it, because I feel like when we interact with these cult-like individuals, their NPC programming kind of grinds to a halt and they just get angry instead. I don't see the, I wonder. I do, all I hear is soup of terms. Oh my god. You feel like you lost at least 15 IQ points? Same, dude. It's hard, dude. Tim Combs, thank you for the $5. Why do they keep saying the work? They keep tiptoeing around what they're actually talking about, and it only makes it sound more like ministry. Because they have to tiptoe around some of the ways that they express what the work is, much like how they can't come out and say certain things about what DEI is, and they have to keep using the flowery language to keep normies on board with agreeing with it. Cognitive dissonance is a hell of a drug. It is.
Mm-hmm. And then when you apply that, and I love the example you shared about the gentleman with the partner in the wheelchair, because most of us, if we don't have an ability issue or need, you know, we're operating pretty standard. But the minute you add some of those things, and then if you add, like in that case, like if you add any other minoritized or intersectional identities on top of that.
Minoritized identities. They've made minoritized, by the way.
Now, how much more complicated or complex is that person's navigation than, for example, and when you begin to see that happen, right? So I think in the workplace, you know, we try to acknowledge the levels of privilege and then think about.
I am beginning to think all 22 views on this video are tubers roasting these brain-damaged diversity hires.
I'd be impressed if it was only me and other VTubers who were talking about this shit. What a weird reality we live in.
About proximity. So is it possible that your experience may have limited your understanding of the broader experience, or the experiences of those who may have had a different perspective? And it's really hard for people, I think, until
big boy fuck along.
They observe it, or they it's challenged in real time. So you know, sometimes I tell people, is there a place you walk by in your neighborhood that you've never been curious about? Is there a reason you would or wouldn't, you know, give somebody an apple, or think about something?
I'm a real pet.
What?
In reference to it could be more than just homeless. That's the point. Bundle unrelated things, just like homeless bundles fentanyl addicts with severe mental ill with women escaping abuse, etc. Then switch definitions whenever convenient.
I guess when a word has a malleable definition and you can apply to it anything you desire, like as a fucking playground. These two keep yapping, but their IQ is suboptimal. Even I have higher IQ. It's impressive.
A little bit differently, or if you have something, you know, that you cherish, whatever that is there a reason somebody else might not cherish it in the same way? And you know, it's just, but it's so slow, right? I mean,
reprogramming someone is slow.
And that gets where people get kind of either exhausted, checked out, they can't see themselves in it, they aren't able to question the media or question, and so some of us might use I mean, I think like I sometimes use whatever I can. I these days
They bundled alcoholics into mental illness at work during the DEI session. Fun fact, Spice Must Flow. Back when I was working for the insurance company, one of the women I worked with, she had an uncle who was an alcoholic, and he was able to get on SSDI because of his alcoholism being classified as a disability. So that's been around for a hot minute.
I'm in the office kind of a hybrid schedule, so I use my physical space in the office to kind of, people come in, they're like, whoa, there's a lot happening in here. But I'm like, just take a poke around, pick any one thing that maybe would give somebody oh, well, that's an interesting book, or, oh, what do you mean? Whatever, there might be like a stack of books.
All this talk of not leaving people alone sure sounds like textbook harassment. No, see, they're doing a good thing. It's harassment if you call them out for harassing other people. Now you know what to fall back on if your disability is rejected for your back. Nice, you're welcome. If that doesn't work, you got the autism defense, and then if that doesn't work, just become an alcoholic. It's so easy. No bad tactics. True. King of the Hill even had an episode about a guy using addiction as a disability. Yeah, it's been a way to take advantage for a hot fucking minute.
Or a stack of stickers or something to kind of question and challenge. And it's interesting who engages with the challenge and who doesn't. Yeah. And then that's another way, right? Like, okay, and then think about things that we might share through connection or conversation or physical being, right? Like, are there ways that we can express messages even sometimes when it's not overt, so like, what are the things that we can do? And then, you kind of find ways to, again, meet folks to some degree, although I don't really live in that space anymore. I'm sort of like, I will do my
What does she mean by I don't live in that space? Are you supposed to always do the work?
Unless somebody's harming someone, I suppose. But like, my approach is kind and thoughtful. And also, like, we are moving forward, and we're, you got to come along,
We're moving forward. You can't be stuck in the past with your bigoted views. You need to understand that progress is inevitable, and we are the arbiters of that progress. You cannot stop us. That's weird.
And how can we do that in a way that's,
It's that push.
Yeah. So there's so much.
And, as I'm sitting here and listening and processing, what you're saying, it can be overwhelming.
Sure.
To be constantly doing that. But, going back to the question, I think, one of the things that I have noticed, and this is a pet peeve of mine. So if anybody's listening,
she keeps hitting the mic.
If anyone is like coming into DEI work and they're like, oh, I'm just passionate about it. I'm just like, because I'm not your passion project.
What?
Because of my, my intersectional identities, I'm not your passion project.
What?
I need more than passion. I need commitment. I need,
If someone's coming in and they're just like, I fully believe in your mantra. I love DEI. I'm here for it. Instead of seeing someone who's excited to keep pushing the ideology, this woman's just like, I am not your passion project. Your savior complex is just too large, and you need to take it down a notch because you are not what's important here. I am.
All of these other things that tell me that you are in this for me and not for you.
Yeah.
And so that's the piece around, privilege that I really question folks about, because it's okay.
Holy
after
shit.
You leave here, right? What do your social circles look like? So, it ties back to what you're saying.
From when I watched her with Cheryl Dijah, I thought that this woman on the left, I thought that she was like one of the brainwashed true believers who just thought that this was like all good ideas and everyone who does it is a good person, and like maybe she still is, but she's saying some things here that's making me think like maybe she's not quite as unaware as I originally believed. Now she's the leader. Jesus Christ. Holy fuck, dude.
Your social circles look like. What are the
That's how they get
opportunities
you?
that you're taking?
Well, it's like, it's hard sometimes, right, to tell the difference between someone who is an active, disingenuous, like, proponent pushing these things from a malicious angle, and someone who's just been unfortunately reprogrammed and has fully drank the Kool-Aid of this cult mentality. Please put it on 2 times speed!
Like the dirty dog you are! The complexity of other identities, or what's happening in other communities, or challenging, you know, your thoughts or ideas. I was talking to a friend this weekend, a Black female friend, and she said, you know, they went through one of these workshops at work that was very intense, and they put them in groups, small groups, and they said, ask any question that you want to ask.
Why are you Black?
And an older white woman asked her, like, what do you talk
Is
about
it bad
at
to
dinner?
be attracted to a cartoon fox that you don't even
And she said her reaction was like, I don't know, what's going on with school? You know, like just the normal things.
Oh no, a white person asked a normal question in an uncomfortable corporate setting where you don't know what to ask people. What a piece of shit. Where's Uki Violetta to get mad at white people saying hello? Like what? How are they going to try and extrapolate that into a racist question? I don't understand.
But for this person to ask that question, she had a very different expectation.
How can you assume
of
that?
What a Black family would talk about at the dinner table.
Or she's just asking a corporate friendly question. What do you mean? What do you mean? Oh God. Why are you gay? She's not racist. I was just like, what? Did she consent to say hello? I don't think asking your friend, what do you talk about at the dinner table, is assuming that Black people talk about different things at the dinner table than white people do. I was just like, I don't know what to ask. I haven't spoken to you very much. We're only co-workers and not friends. What do you talk about at dinner? I was like, what? Every interaction is an interrogation with these people. That is crazy to me. I was like, God, no wonder Uki didn't think he was a racist.
Right? And so it's like there was an opportunity to unpack that because, again, like where did that notion come from that it would be something different?
Why are you assuming that? Why are you assuming that? And what do you mean? There's nothing to unpack there. There's nothing to, like, if I don't know you, I'm gonna just ask you, like, safe questions. Apparently asking what you talk about at the dinner table isn't a safe question. Opportunity to unpack. How exhausting. The work is never over, chat.
And if it was something different, what was it? Like, what are you expecting? And so jokingly, me being me, I was just like, oh, I would say we talk about, you know, a takeover, like the revolution.
What? Okay, so she's gone from assuming that the white person was being racist because the white person believed that the Black person talks about different things from white people during the dinner table instead of just asking a corporate friendly question. And your response to, I think you're being racist, is, we talk about revolution at the dinner table. We talk about overthrowing the government and instituting a Black supremacist one. I mean, I guess I'm making an assumption that she would have gone that far, but like, what kind of revolution? What kind of revolution, comrade, are you talking about at the dinner table?
Right? You know, that's just me. And so it's so interesting. I love how you say, you know, this constant challenge of how we are seeing the world and what could be different or what's stopping us. You know, what is behind our actions and behaviors, and really questioning those things, because if you are not willing to question yourself, then
I just think that's crazy to have made that assumption, and now they're building this entire conversation off of it. Like when you watch those like YouTube dating shows, all of the people ask like really safe questions and they all sound uncomfortable answering them. Like it's just normal interaction between people who don't know each other. If you tell me at work I'm planning a revolution, I'm going to HR that you're threatening my life.
gonna sit in a group of coworkers and they're like, ask any question you want to these people you don't talk to very often and only in a work environment. And be like, all right, so when was the last time any of you stuck anything in your urethra? Like, who would start a conversation like that with coworkers? It's just, that would be weird. You like jazz?
We all talk about the same things. So Miss Kobayashi's
Are you
Dragon
assuming
Lady's
I like
pretty
jazz
cute,
because I'm a
right?
black woman?
My favorite
That's
character
very
is
racist of you. Why would you ask that?
Wait, where are you going? I thought we all talked about the same things.
You're not willing to question anyone else.
Right.
And so that's kind of the meat and
The ultimate privilege. I think you just named the ultimate privilege.
That is it.
I mean, and and a lot of people in this work, you might be tapped into the work sometimes based on an identity or series of identities you have, right? So there's folks who are tapped into the work. There are folks who feel like because of a passion that that's a qualification. And I think, the field has shifted enough and is certainly under forever and very recently, a lot of pressure and
Gee,
whatnot.
I wonder
and
why the fucking
I
DEI
often
bullshit's
will
under a
tell
lot of
folks
pressure.
thinking about them, people who want to go into this work, is like, you certainly have to have this, like, care. You have to care about this. So I think passion might be like, the ticket at some point to get, but really you can't survive on that because you have to be really patient, there's a ton of other P's. Right? You have to
Dedicated.
be really
Yeah.
patient,
Oh
really
my God.
persistent. You have to stay positive, but you have to be really practical, and you said, even the push that comes into it, because if we aren't positioning folks to think about the way
Normal
we've
people
done
only
it
have
has
one
served
identity.
some folks.
When you're in the cult like these people are, and the things that victimize you or marginalize you are used as like currency, or used as points of I deserve more because of this part of my identity. When you have a series of identities, that means instead of being an individual, you're a culmination of your identity. So you have a black identity, you have a lesbian identity, you have a non-binary identity, kind of thing like that. They're stackable instead of all being fluid together. It's the cult of intersectionality. Yeah, the oppression Olympics.
Folks well, but does not really serve most of us in communities that are not sort of the dominant culture, have really not benefited nor seen. And how do you enlist some of that? I mean, you have to sort of, you can't, it's not in spite of that, it's with, right? I mean, you have to kind of engage that.
Yeah, big
and
guy.
then if we can't get comfortable with
What
the
are
fact
the chances that, everyone
some,
in her group thinks they are the leader of the revolution? Like that one episode of South Park?
Well, I mean, again, these people who push these ideals, they might be maliciously lying, right? But there are still people above them who are actually in control. And a lot of the beautiful minds, as it were, the ideologues, will find themselves in a similar position to those that they perpetrated cancel culture on previously. They will be disposed of just as easily as the people that they were against before. Liberals get the bullets too. And then these people who have the nice utopian ideologue nonsense drilled into them, you can't have thinkers in a society under Marxism. They don't want you to be able to think. The standalone complex, but many cases where it's not. Personalities have such a dissonance due to their cluster of identities. They're mentally unstable because they have no solid foundation of personality. Yeah. And it's just like assuming that there is some sort of cluster of group personality just because people share some sort of part of their identity. You're still an individual just because, like, you are black or you are a lesbian or you are whatever the fuck doesn't mean that you believe the same things as everyone else in that characteristic class. It's crazy how much it sounds like an actual cult. People have even offed themselves over the ideology. When will leftism be in the DSM? It's just classic Marxism. It's not even just like leftism. It's just wrapped in new language.
We may be able to sort of schedule technology, and we're able to, that's a privilege, right? I mean, that doesn't mean that I don't have other privileges or that I'm not lacking in a number of privileges. It just simply means we have to acknowledge, and the acknowledgement of it doesn't detract from our commitment, care, concern, or ability. It just means that we are truly holding up the mirror, paying attention to the lens with which we look at it, and then saying, this is not enough. You know, like, again, not everybody's going to
That's where all the self-hating white people get it from.
have that reaction. But if we can have a reaction that shifts our thinking and practice and, you know,
behavior.
That's the bottom line. I mean, and how that's going to show up in all of the spaces that we occupy. And that's where, to me, it's like not just a work thing, but again, often work is maybe the most diverse access that people have in some cases, right? If nothing else has changed at home, then at least at work, maybe they're being able to, you know, see some things that are a little bit different. So, you know,
you tend to be more resourced at work, right? For this type of work.
In some cases.
In some, right? I was like, for the most part. It's using that opportunity and that privilege, if you have it, to then use that as a catalyst for the rest of your life.
Your entire life.
Aisha, how do you take care of yourself as you're doing all of this? Like, what are the things you do to fill your cup?
Yeah,
I mean, talked about self-care in the beginning, right?
Yeah, so and you know, I always sort of say, like, it's never going to be, I don't think for most of us it's anything like a balance, but I think we do have to take care and find those spaces. I think it's what feeds your soul, and so sometimes because I'm fortunate enough to have employment and I have access to some resources through that, then can I do things in my non-work life that allow me, whether it's I'm a consistent.
I was gonna say, she was just asked what she does for self-care outside of perpetuating quote unquote the work, and she immediately started talking about the work again.
Constantly on a fitness journey, so you know it's always something that you probably that's one of the ways that I make sure that I'm staying physically healthy to the best of my ability. I'm come from a very spiritual family, so also the spiritual piece, having my family and my friends and my community, giving back is something that means a lot to me personally. So ways that I can be engaged in community and look for ways to do good in a lot of spaces that maybe people are.
We probably don't need to hear her finish up talking about the ways she fills her cup, right? But I felt like I needed to show that in order to preface all of the sweet baby shit. All of the sweet baby shit that's been sweet babying all over the goddamn place. The shit is scary, to be honest. It is. It should be. Because once you notice how all-encompassing it is, how it's everywhere, it makes you want to, like, do something about it. It's like you can't just stick your head in the sand and act like an ostrich. And so, on the sweet baby path, because again, at the beginning of this I said it's not just about video games. Don't let them pull the why do you care nonsense on you. Don't let people demoralize you by saying, I'm white and I don't care about this, or whatever the heck nonsense they're putting out in the certain day of the week. This is everywhere, and it is important to call it out. It is important to show that this is bad for us. Mine Daily Mail article, dude, let me slide this bitch over. University of Virginia exposed for $20 million annual diversity, equity, and inclusion spending on 235 staff, including a $243,000 a year equity czar who calls OxyContin deaths payback for the toxicity of whiteness. The University of Virginia spends $20 million a year on its 235 DEI staffers, including a woman who says the opioid epidemic is payback for the toxicity of whiteness, a damning report says. Let me turn back my background music on so we can, like, jam when I decide to breathe. Crack cocaine deaths are payback. Every death of a white person is just reparations for the harms that their ancestors have caused. If you are truly for the cause of DEI, you know, immolation is on the menu. You aren't overdosing by accident, right? Okay there, DEI agent, enjoy your fentanyl. Open the Books, a spending watchdog, says the flagship public college in Charlottesville drops $15 million on salaries and $5 million more in benefits to its diversity, equity, and inclusion team. They include Rachel Spraker, an equity and inclusive officer who calls Appalachia's wave of premature deaths a sign of white toxicity, and the school's diversity chief, Martin Davidson, who pockets nearly $600,000 a year. The university disputed parts of the report, but did not say how much of its annual $2.3 billion academic budget it spends on DEI. UVA's highest paid DEI staff. We got Martin Davidson, the Senior Associate Dean and Global Chief Diversity Officer, getting $451,800 a year. And with his pay and benefits, the taxpayer cost is $587,000, $340 a year. Holy shit. Holy fuck. The lowest paid person, Mark Christopher Jefferson, with $166,260 a year. Assistant Dean for Community Engagement and Equity. Hey, yo, what? Some of their fucking titles are crazy. ESG money will flow. VP for DEI and Community Partnerships. Senior Director of Procurement and Supplier of Diversity Services. What is that? What do you even do? What do you even do? That's $86,000 per employee at least? Yeah, that's nuts to me. It's very lucrative to be anti-white. It really is. Imagine dehumanizing an entire population. Very profitable. Adam Andrzejewski, author of The Damning Study, said UVA has embraced the divisive quotas of the neo-Marxist DEI crowd. Based Adam. Tens of millions of dollars in student tuition and taxpayer monies are flowing into promoting anti-American notions and radical philosophies that judge the color of one's skin instead of the content and competence of their character. For some, DEI schemes are important and necessary as they help to overcome historical racism and sexism and make it easier for people of all backgrounds to get ahead in schools, colleges, and offices. Unless you're Asian, then you're not minority enough. But critics say they're a form of reverse discrimination that blows back on straight white men. And this is exactly like reverse racism. And I remember when I was younger, I even called it reverse racism. For some reason, right? You're told that from when you're young that racism only happens against minorities, and that it's reverse racism if someone's racist to a white person. It's not. It's all just fucking racism. Do not buy into them changing the definition of words. Do not use their terminology if you can help it. There's no such thing as reverse discrimination, and anyone like Adam, who's unironically calling this out for what it is as neo-Marxist garbage, would not be saying reverse discrimination. They would just be calling it discrimination. DEI schemes face a backlash from conservative legal action groups, especially those funded by taxpayers. The University of Florida this month terminated all DEI positions and shuttered diversity programs in the state's publicly funded education system in compliance with new state regulations. And this is a good thing. This is a good thing that this happened, unfortunately, because of what Bridge is trying to do, where they are eliminating DEI and trying to get rid of the officer positions so that they can make everyone in the company, regardless of your position title, push the ideology. It's going to make it slightly harder to root out these people. Because if you have a guy who's a diversity and inclusion officer, you know that you should get rid of him. You know that he is a bad faith actor. But if you have a guy who is like a senior partner of development and programming, that just looks like a normal fucking guy to you. How do you know which ones are the bad ones if they all have normal job titles? You try to be a nice person, but these people make you wish you had a helicopter. Adam, I'm just going to call him Adam because I can't pronounce his last name. Adam's report on UVA aims at a bloated DEI infrastructure about 4 times the cost of Florida's shuttered programs. He highlights Davidson, Senior Associate Dean of the Darden School of Business and Global Chief Diversity Officer, UVA's top DEI earner with an annual salary and benefits package of $587,000, $340. Why can't I say this? $587,340. That's like the 5th time I fucked up saying money. There's more than 3 times the salary of Virginia's Republican Governor Glenn Youngkin, said the report. Davidson is the author of a book about diversity in U.S. institutions, in which he says they often fail to make gains. The second biggest DEI paycheck goes to Kevin McDonald, the Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion and Community Partnerships, who takes home $520,000 with benefits, the report says. Other DEI bosses pocket upwards of $250,000 a year, a good deal in a state where the average living costs are a modest $48,000 a year. Researchers looked at the school's 2023 payroll file, taking the positions and salary and estimating an extra 30% in spending for benefits. They spotlight Spraker, a $242,840 a year equity and inclusion expert with a track record in controversial comments about racism in her native Appalachian region. Spraker spoke about how her community embraced white supremacy, yet suffers from the MAGA social ills that follow: rising rates of gun suicides and opioid overdose deaths. I grew up in rural Appalachia, she says in a video for the college's anti-racist table group. We all know what anti-racist actually means at this point. White people are dying of whiteness too. The toxicity of whiteness, many of them were dying prematurely, also in their 20s.
What do you want me to say? Split sideways?
If we're going to call the opioid crisis white people dying of whiteness, are we then going to call black people dying of gang violence, black people dying of blackness? Like, what kind of weird fucking word games do you really want to play here? Wouldn't really call Glenn Youngkin. Isn't that guy in his 50s? Ha ha. University spokesman Brian Coy spoke up for UVA's diversity efforts and questioned the report's findings. The study seems to count individuals who have full-time positions in non-DEI posts and then counts them as full DEI staffers. Well, see, this is interesting as well.
Stuff on that car.
This is interesting as well, because this is literally what I just said with Bridge. Where they're trying to phase out the positions that have a notable DEI title to them, and just make them regular positions. So this study probably came out and found out what these people were making with a side title of a DEI sort of officer thing.
Got up when I heard it raining.
But that DEI officer title is probably going to go away real soon. Davidson, for example, leads DEI efforts, but is also a regular professor, said Coy. You know, my eyes are kind of fucking up right now, so I keep accidentally seeing that C as a different letter. Actually, these folk forget that they used to get punked by opiates back in the day. Look at Malcolm X having to detox from smack when he was on lockup. That's all like the CIA initiative pushing drugs into poverty neighborhoods as well. You're very white. Are you gonna die? Yes. Yes. UVA pays $1.1 million annually for McDonald and Davidson to sow racial division via their positions at the top of the DEI food chain. This picture on the right is not a very flattering picture. DEI's big bucks, that's how much money the DEI staff at UVA makes, funded by our tax dollars. Rather than 235 DEI employees, UVA has 55 dedicated DEI positions at an institution of more than 40,000 students, faculty, and staff. Coy declines to offer his own tally of the university's DEI spend, and Andrzejewski says his numbers are correct and that the school has consistently undercounted DEI staffers in presentations to the public. Taxpayers in Virginia and beyond took to social media to complain about what they saw as a wasteful overspend of tax dollars. DEI staff now make up more than 3.4 positions for every 100 tenured professors, according to a nationwide research by the Heritage Foundation. Holy shit. Stoking fears of a ballooning sector that some say is no more than a woke